Now, broadcasting from deep within your stepmom's basement, it's the Plex podcast.
So please excuse my sarcastic tone. I'm a bit underwhelmed by the sample shown. Mr. Pistra, fraternity guy, you got the ass for bloodshot eyes. Get drunk and fight every night. Idolize Bradley, belittle women's rights. Homophobic, racist, and don't give a fucking hey. Do you think you can drive a bigger truck? So wear your baseball cap to decide to let everyone know that you're a nice guy. So cool, was so impressed. Lots of chicks and a barrel chest. Cause you're a real man. Punch for punch, gonna piss in your face while you're passed out drunk. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. He's a nice guy, but all of you are assholes. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. She's a nice guy, but all of you are assholes. Nice guys rule the planet. I just can't understand it. Conquer divine by deception and lies. Social Darwinism and an overdose of pride. Fuck off, shirt off. I don't wanna hear it. Fuck off, shirt off. Read into the lyrics, cause everybody gets their just desserts. As long as you remember that nice guys finish Mr. White Beater, you're next on the list. Such a nice guy who speaks through his fists. Prick with a penchant for messing with heads. A broken nose for dinner and breakfast in bed. Alcoholic, paranoid, and suicidal too. But you'll probably kill her before she gets away from you. She rolls in a pool of blood and cry. All your friends say that you're a nice guy. Have a drink, this one's on me. Look, you're doing fine, losing to your disease. Comatose, I'll pack your bags. Bury you in my castrated gag. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. We're all nice guys, but all of you are assholes. He's a nice guy, she's a nice guy. Hey, Tom Bo's a nice guy. All of you are assholes. Nice guys rule the planet. The fundamental conquer the body by deception and lies. Social Darwinism and an overdose of pride. Fuck off, jerk off. I don't wanna hear it. Fuck off, jerk off. Read into the lyrics. So let the fudgies will quench your thirst. As long as you remember that nice guys finish first.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Plex. We do the show live every Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific right here on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/EchoPlex Media. If you're listening to the podcast version of this on Spotify or whatever, do follow us on Twitch and check out a live show sometime. You can support this project by going to echoplexmedia.com. Click the support link at the top of the website and you can make your own decisions from there. Though I do suggest memberships at eplex.store because you get a red light and everything sent to you. And you get the podcast a day early. Anyway, I'm producer Dave. You can find me on Blue Sky at Plex-Dave, and this is what the people want.
I don't hate the cops. There's a person inside when the truncheon stops. Oh, don't hate the cops. Oh, when the raiders come, who will protect the shops? Don't hate the cops. They're a sensitive bunch if you don't stop throwing your rocks. Snap, crackle, pop is the sound of a taser. Your body drops, don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops, don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops. Like your local police, 'cause they don't do nothing wrong like your local police. Got rid of the corruption and the racism is gone. They've been keeping the peace, keeping homeless folks out of the parks and malls. Got a cure for your social disease. Follow the law, don't hate the cops. 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 Put your hands above your head to show you're not afraid. I'm the fairest judge that your skin color's gonna get. And if you die before the sun comes up, the paperwork will take forever. Well, it might have worked out a little bit better if you didn't hate the cops. 'Cause they don't do nothing wrong, don't hate the cops. You can't blame them for just doing their job, don't hate the cops. Well, you gotta wonder, how much would it cost for you to be shot at and stabbed at by maniacs and drunks? Don't hate the cops, don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops, don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops, don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops, don't hate the cops.
All right. Well, our first group of stories this week is, in fact, about Epstein and Trump and the House Oversight Committee. So obviously, there's been a cover-up, as you could imagine.
I've learned in my 2.5 years that it is impossible to put yourself in the head of the Republican majority and the leaders of the Republican Party. They continue to come up with different ways of caving to Donald Trump, of doing whatever he wants. Mike Johnson shut down Congress a week early because he didn't even want to deal with these Epstein files. But the fact of the matter is this is a cover-up. This is a massive cover-up. They're not just stonewalling. They're trying to do it through charades and sleight of hand, so to speak. But they are covering something up. This Donald Trump was hot to trot, and Kash Patel and Dan Bongino were leading the charge to release the Epstein files. Now, all of a sudden, they don't want them released. They are trying to hide something. And by releasing these documents, most of which have been released before, others will not have any relevant information. My suspicion is that the Oversight Committee is colluding with the Department of Justice. If you look at a resolution, an alternative resolution they're going to present this week, it does not call for the witness statements. It gives all sorts of, goes through many different sections, types of information that should be released. It does include the witness statements. If it doesn't include the witness statements, then it doesn't include the core of the Epstein files.
Congressman Goldman, appreciate your time. Thanks very much. More now on what some
Yeah, no shit. If it doesn't, like, no wit. Well, if it's just like, if they're just leaving anything out that they don't want people to see, that's literally the fucking definition of a cover-up. These are not. This is such a weird, like, self-own, like an unforced error by these people, because they ran on this. I don't know. Why don't they fucking, like, I mean, I know that this is fucking totally illegal. Why don't they just fucking release fake documents? I mean, these people are all fucking liars and shit. So why wouldn't they just, like, doctor some shit up? Why wouldn't they fucking lie? Why wouldn't they, like, release a bunch of bull crap? I don't know why they're doing this instead. It's so much easier to just fucking make shit up. But they can't, I don't know. They don't even want to do that. I don't know. I can't figure it out. Here is Ro Khanna, who I have many problems with. But he is going to talk. This is the day before the presser with the Epstein victims. He's on Midas Touch, who I also have many problems with. But they're talking about the presser that's going to happen, I believe, the next day when this was being recorded.
It's going to be a bombshell press conference tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. It's the first time after over a decade that the American people are going to hear from the survivors of the Epstein abuse. And they're going to talk not just about Epstein's abuse and Maxwell's abuse, but about rich and powerful men who abused young girls. Here's the reality.
Shout out to him for saying girls, young girls, not under the, everybody else is saying underage women. Well, an underage woman is a girl.
This is about restoring trust in government. This is about protecting America's kids. This is about standing with survivors. Now I want to break some news. Not only is Thomas Massie going to be there, Marjorie Taylor Greene is going to be there. So this is not partisan. This is patriotic. And for the first time since Donald Trump walked down the escalator, we are going to have progressives, moderates, independents, and MAGA supporters on the same side, demanding truth and justice. And this is really a wake-up call for the Trump White House.
I did not have Marjorie the Gathering figures out that she's been had on my 2025 bingo card, if I'm being completely fucking honest, dude. That is wild. And you know, she is, you know, I don't like her. She's a terrible person. But in at least in this case, she's sort of sticking by her guns on this one. But for her, there's like no downside, right? Because she's not going to get voted out no matter what, because her district is so fucking gerrymandered. It's like almost gerrymandered to the point where maybe everybody in her district is her relative or something like. But it's kind of amazing to see that. I feel like she talked a lot about the Epstein files, like more than most of the other people in Congress. And the other thing is she sort of was like Q adjacent, or not Q adjacent. She was a straight up QAnon candidate. And so she can't. It's not like other people who sort of dog whistled a little bit at QAnon. She can't. She ran as like the Save the Children candidate. So here's the Democratic presser after the meeting with the Epstein victims.
The thing about being a victim of assault, of sexual violence, is that it not only steals your sense of self, it steals your dignity, it steals your ambition, it steals your hopes, it steals your dreams, and it steals your sense of personhood. And what we heard today is from a half dozen victims, some of
she's a demon, you hear that?
Whom have already pursued both civil and criminal suits against both Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, as well as from several who have never told their stories in public before. But before I turn to the substance of the case itself, I want to say to anyone out there who is currently experiencing abuse of any kind, we see you. We are here fighting for you, and we will fight for justice for every person who is experiencing sexual violence in this country, and that is what this case is actually about. But I want to be clear that what we heard today is a cover-up. And it is a cover-up of epic proportions, a cover-up involving the United States government, the justice system, rich and powerful individuals, a cover-up potentially involving foreign countries and foreign actors. And yes, here today in this House, as our colleagues are up in the House chamber in the Rules Committee, a cover-up by the Republicans in this chamber. Because as you will find out in the coming days and weeks, this goes all the way to the top. So let's be clear about that. There has been a systemic failure of the justice system for decades. a systemic failure to hold people who are powerful and have money to account, and that has allowed not just hundreds but potentially thousands of women, not only in the United States but around the world, to be bought, sold, and trafficked for sex, not only by Jeffrey Epstein but by his associates and his rich and powerful friends. And as these stories come forward, whether they're stories that have already been told, they're stories in those FBI files that have not been released by the Department of Justice and which they must release because of the subpoena, or whether they are stories of victims that have not yet come forward, we will hold you all accountable for this miscarriage of justice, for the abuse of these women and the abuse of this institution to try to cover it up. Because there happens to be a very powerful person at the top who doesn't want these stories out.
So, I mean, I'll believe it when I see it. Like, it's really weird, though, because remember, like, during, like, the basically the height of QAnon and Pizzagate, all those weirdos were like, oh, Trump's gonna expose all this. Well, now it's like random. It's like Democrats. Like, it's a bipartisan thing, but this is being exposed in some ways by the very people that the QAnon folks were calling the deep state, right? The storm or whatever, I suppose, is here. It's just they don't like it. It's not a storm that they're they're happy with. They wanted it to go the other way, right? They wanted their political enemies to be the ones that were doing all this. Their political enemies to be the ones who were exposed, and that's not who's being exposed. It's the people that they voted for that are being exposed, and they're not happy about that. So more on this we got on the Steve Bannon show. I've been able to avoid this guy, not Bannon, but Viva Frey. I think his name is Viva Fry, whatever the fuck his name is. He's on the Steve Bannon show saying that having these, the victims, the Epstein victims to Congress was all just a dog and pony show.
Viva Fry, I want to go back to the beginning because we showed it nonstop yesterday. You support releasing all the documents, getting full disclosure. What did you not like then about yesterday, sir?
What it ended up looking like is that this has been co-opted and hijacked in the exact same way the Me Too movement was co-opted and hijacked to be weaponized for political purposes and to go after anybody who was an ideological adversary. When you had the women...
Wait a minute, but that's what you... Wait a minute. Whoa, Viva Frey, that's what y'all wanted in the first place. It's just the car's going the other way. You're not mad at the car or the road or even the one of the destinations, or you're just mad which way the car's going. What the fuck, dude?
Know the names. We are standing up for justice so that no victims ever get victimized again in the future. Protect the children, but we're not going to mention any names. Period. And that other woman who was talking about her modeling career and how she ended up on Epstein's island to witness things. I don't know that she was actually a victim of Epstein.
Wait a minute, Viva Frey, former litigator? Isn't this guy just a podcaster? What do you former litigator? Does it mean he used to be a lawyer? What do you mean litigator?
Sexual abuses, saying, we're going to make our own list and we're going to keep it confidential. Stay tuned for more. I mean, it looked cheap and tawdry, and it looked like they had co-opted Massey's righteous initial motion or the House resolution to disclose the documents and are co-opting it to bastardize it for their own whatever purposes. Making a list of not just abusers, but anyone in Epstein's orbit, keeping it confidential for the victims. That sounds like extortion. And so Bondi has blown this Epstein document release. They've embarrassed some of the alternative media that support Trump. I think it's compromised Trump unnecessarily. Massey puts forward a decent, bipartisan with Ro Khanna support, and it gets co-opted by what we saw yesterday. It looked like a dog and pony show. It had nothing to do with disclosure.
It got co-opted by who? Wait, but co-opted. They had a press conference about it. I don't know what he means co-opted. I don't think he knows what he means when he's saying co-opted either.
Justice and naming names, it had to do with self-promotion and promising things for the future that they have in their hands right now.
Do you think, are they, you're a lawyer, are their lawyers telling them some reason?
That motherfucker maybe might have been a lawyer.
At least give some of the names. I mean, many times they talked, and they also, I think, raised the stakes, because I don't remember this coming out in the Maxwell trial. Maybe it did, right? I don't follow these things that closely. But a couple of victims said they were raped and then passed around or trafficked to be raped some more by powerful people in politics, finance, business, and entertainment. Was it and this is obviously stuff that's over 20 years old, would any of lawyer have told them you can't say the names? I mean, why weren't they able to say, is there some restriction they had to come forward, at least with a couple of the names yesterday, to let people know that this was something more than just Maxwell and Epstein?
You know, a number of people float a number of reasons why. They can't name them because they live in fear. And so to that argument, I say, if you're living in fear of what your abusers might do to you, you don't come out on a platform and say, I'm going to name you in the future. You sit there and wait for me to name you. It's the exact opposite of what you would do. Have they signed NDAs because they might have gotten compensated for their abuse and therefore contractually cannot disclose the names? Possibly.
Well, no. This is all really stupid. The reason they're not just listing off a bunch of names yet is because they haven't really compiled the names. We saw, and I didn't put it on the docket because it was long, but one of the victims was saying that they're getting together, some of them, to compile a list of the names of the abusers and the enablers from the documents they have, from what they remember, and that they're going to do it. It's just like, so there's a couple different, he's conflating a couple different things here. One is like the documents that that were given to Congress, as we heard from in the last clip. A lot of the stuff just wasn't handed over. A lot of the witness statements weren't handed over. That I don't know somehow they know they exist, but they weren't handed over. There were documents where the entire page was fucking redacted. Like, this isn't, they don't have the information. This is, the Dog and Pony Show is being done by the DOJ. The Dog and Pony Show is being done by Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. Like, here's a bunch of documents, and it's all fucking, it's either redacted, it's not pertinent really, or it's stuff that's already out there in the public. And so that's the Dog and Pony Show, not the press conference. You can argue about whether or not having the kind of press conference try to get attention or whatever, if maybe some of the legislators that are doing it out of some in some way out of self-interest. You can make that argument. But the Dog and Pony Show isn't happening at the press conference. It happened during the election, and for the first couple months of the administration, when Bongino and Kash Patel were going on every fucking podcast in the world saying they were going to expose the fucking pedophiles.
And then, I say possibly, but even then it sort of does taint their pursuit of justice, that if they've received compensation and signed NDAs and...
Yeah. Somebody in chat was just saying the NDA might be about the compensation itself, but you can't NDA I raped you, right? Like, you can't do that. That is not worth the fucking paper it's written on. You light that shit on fire. You could have the settlement or whatever under seal, but you can't fucking make somebody sign an NDA. Like if I beat you over the head with a baseball bat and then make you sign a piece of paper that says you're not going to talk about it, fuck no. I mean, I could do that, but that piece of paper ain't worth shit.
Now they say, well, we want you to release the names because we already got compensated for what we claim to have happened to us in the past. The other argument they say is defamation. If they say it, they might get sued for defamation. People came out yesterday and said Virginia Giuffre is a national hero for having did what she did, and we're not going to do it because we're afraid of getting sued for naming the people who we claim sexually abused us. I have never been in that position, so I don't know what is a normal human response. I won't judge it, but it doesn't do wonders to promote this purportedly bipartisan bill, which now looks like a total gong show.
The problem isn't that these people are worried that there's going to be a judgment against them, right? Because defamation, especially in the United States, and especially if the defamation is against a public figure, that is a tall fucking hill to climb. For reasons we won't get into right now, I've had to look into that on both sides, whether I'm being defamed or whether I'm doing the defamation. But that doesn't mean that somebody with a lot of money couldn't tie that up in the courts for fucking years and just basically re-traumatize somebody. That's the fucking reason that they're worried about court action, not that they're going to get a judgment against them.
And so if I'm Thomas Massie, I'm irritated having seen what I saw yesterday, because it is not going to garner any more support for what I think should have been a pretty straightforward thing to do. Pass the bill, release the documents in as much as you can without breaking the law. Don't release 30 some odd thousand pages individually scanned, making it unsearchable, highly redacted, so the liars on Twitter can say, I wonder why this entire passage is redacted, because it must have Trump's name in it, when the victims yesterday come out and say, Trump was supportive, back in the day. We never alleged that he's done anything bad.
Wait, did the victims? I don't know. Did the victims say that? I ain't heard that. I ain't heard that from none. Have you heard that from the victims? I ain't heard that from the victims. Trump was support. I ain't heard that.
Whether or not the release would embarrass people in high places or other countries with which we want to maintain diplomatic relations, it's possible. But it doesn't matter, because if they don't and they keep bungling this release of the Epstein files, the political ramifications at home are going to be such that the Democrats are going to continue weaponizing it, much like they've done. Weaponizing the refusal to follow through on what was not a campaign promise, but a campaign issue that Trump himself brought up and brought to the fore. So I don't understand the entire debacle from the get-go. I think someone needs to replace Pam Bondi. Bailey would be a good replacement, but yesterday did nothing to help the cause.
Yeah, particularly the situation. I think most of these are Democrats. I think that's one of the ironies here.
Well, it's all that. Well, good. Fucking. Well, what the fuck? Wait, what the? Come on. This is that fucking. It's our political enemies that are doing the baddity bad. No, dude, I don't know who the fuck's in there. The people that are in there are like bankers and fucking other kinds of financiers, rich and powerful people that aren't necessarily like known for being a Democrat or a Republican. This wasn't just all politicians. This was just all kind of rich people or all kind of people who were connected with Jeff Epstein. Like this wasn't about partisan politics.
The Dershowitz thing yesterday, because we covered it all, and somebody asked a question about Dershowitz and Virginia, and I guess did she retract some statements she made about Dershowitz? I'm kind of confused about that, but what was amazing is that the people that wanted...
Wait, what does this motherfucker do all day? Well, she said, I'm kind of confused. Motherfucker, you have a staff. You could look into what happened. And you could say, well, the best of my ability to figure it out, it's this.
Full disclosure, shut down the reporter. They said Dershowitz was paying him and, it was untrue and that didn't happen. Do you know what are the details of that? Because it sounded odd for people that wanted full disclosure to be jumping some guy who's asking a question about did she change her testimony at some point in time and exonerate or attempt to exonerate Dershowitz.
Absolutely. So the question, as far as I could hear it, and I would love to know who the journalist was asking questions about Virginia Giuffre having made...
Oh, I bet it was one Julie K. Brown. Although if the reporter backed off, it probably wasn't Julie K. Brown, actually.
...allegations against Dershowitz and retracted them. And when people retract statements, they're going to say exoneration, or others are going to say intimidation, just depending on your perspective. I personally, this is...
Wait, now I'm confused. Did the alleged victim retract the statement, or did the reporter, news organization have to retract the statement because they couldn't prove it? Those are two different things.
Not defending Dershowitz. I don't think Dershowitz is guilty of anything.
Wait, why? I don't know. I don't know. So there's some stuff here. One, people get on Dersh because he was the guy's lawyer. If all he was doing was being the guy's lawyer, like whatever. I don't care what you're charged with. In any civilized country, you have a right to a criminal defense, a vigorous criminal defense. So I like whoever. People used to get on Hillary Clinton because she was, I believe, a public defender or a defense attorney, criminal defense attorney. And she represented people who were accused of violent crimes. And it's like, well, motherfucker, somebody got to represent them. They're entitled to an attorney. But that wasn't the claim about Dersh. And people who were saying, oh, he was this guy's lawyer. It's like, well, he might be shady. There might be problems there, but everybody's entitled to a defense. So homeboy could be his lawyer.
One point on another podcast, I think it might have been with, I want to say Posobiec, but I might be wrong, is that some people made some false accusations because, much like with the Me Too movement, people see dollar signs, and it's cynical and it's gross, but it's reality. There are legitimate, bona fide victims of Epstein's sexual abuse and sexual abuse involving others, because I don't think Ghislaine was trafficking only to Epstein. And then there are other opportunistic players who come in and see dollar signs, say, I'm going to make some accusations against some high, profile people, and I'll get paid too. And so when Dershowitz said there is a list, I've seen it, it's got names, but it's also redacting the names of people who made false accusations, that's a plausible explanation. But when a journalist comes out yesterday, starts asking questions, what about some of the false statements that were retracted or recanted? And then you have these alleged victims rejoicing in the silencing of a journalist who's giving them the attention that they claim to so desperately want. It just made it
what?
Very cheap, very exploitive, very partisan. When you get Gloria Allred appearing out of the blue, I mean, it's like saying Candyman 3 times in the mirror. The entire movement has been bastardized, corrupted.
These people still hate Gloria Allred, dude. Oh my God. The reason people hire Gloria Allred is because she is, you may not like her, you may like her, I don't know, but she is fucking fearless and she will go after anyone and she will represent her client. She is good with the media. She knows how to handle the media. And, if you think she's a bit of an ambulance chaser, I think there's an argument to be made that Gloria Allred has been a bit of an ambulance chaser. But if people hire her, it's because they want someone who's going to vigorously pursue or vigorously represent the client's interests. And one of the reasons that Gloria Allred does that is because it raises her own profile and she can make more money or get more fame through it. The lawyers have done this for time immemorial. So Gloria Allred being somewhere doesn't mean shit. That guy, I think he was lying some or distorting the truth quite a bit there. And I just don't trust him. And that may be the last time you ever see Viva Frey on this channel because I fucking hate that guy. He's like an even worse version of that guy that runs around and pretends he used to be a CIA agent. But while we're doing dumb takes, here's Michael Knowles with a dumb take.
The Department of Justice says there were 1,000 victims of Jeffrey Epstein's abuse. But as I just mentioned, there are two very different groups. There were the underage girls who were underage. Some of the girls were 16. At least one of the girls was as young as 14. That's bad. That's what has people's attention and ire. According to the Department of Justice, of the 1,000 victims of Epstein, 36 of them were underage. That's the highest number I can find from a credible source, or a somewhat credible. So DOJ is not the most credible, I guess, but
well, now you actually have a little bit of a problem, don't you? There, backbench Ben Shapiro, because you used to hate the Justice Department because they were going after Daddy Trump. And now I don't know. Maybe they're not always the most. I don't know. It just depends.
To the blind, the one-eyed man is king. That means that 1,000 or more of the so-called Jeffrey Epstein victims were not underage. They were young women. Could have been in their 20s. I'm not saying they were young. They weren't in their 40s. I don't think that was Epstein's type exactly. But they also weren't 17 or 16, and they certainly weren't 5. They were young women. So in that case, they were prostitutes who were hired to do a job.
Wait. Oh no. Is he going to go with you can't rape a prostitute? He's going to go with you can't rape a sex worker. I swear to fucking God, he's about to do this shit. He's going to do this shit. Maybe they weren't sex workers. I don't know. They were all fucking supposed to be told that they were given massages. I don't think that. Oh no. Oh, he's gonna fucking slut shame. Oh no. Oh, now you turned 18 3 weeks ago. Now you're just a slut.
They were not groomed as children. They were not underage. Their prostitution is still illegal, at least in some parts of this country. But that's very different to me.
So sex work, prostitution involves consent. The allegations are that there was at the very least pretty powerful coercion. At the very least. So that's not sex work. That's not prostitution. Is consensual. Just dumb that it's illegal.
And I also think it's offensive to the underage victims of Jeffrey Epstein's grooming to describe themselves as victims. I mean, I guess we're all victims when we engage in sin in any way, but
what the fuck? So because they're of age, they couldn't have been trafficked? That doesn't... What the fuck?
if you're 25 years old and you're taking money from a rich guy to have sex with him, you're a hooker, and that's bad. You should not be.
So I'm sure I'm sure that Jeff Epstein did have consensual sex with people for money. I'm not saying that didn't happen, but a lot of times, whether they were fucking 16 or 19 or 20, they were told that they were going there to give this guy a massage. And then maybe after he did what he did without really negotiating consent, he threw a couple $100 at them. I'm not sure that that's really what we would generally think about as sex work.
Be a hooker, you should go do something else, but you're not necessarily a victim. You're certainly not a victim in the way that a 16-year-old girl would be. And in that case, it's that for apparently the vast majority of these women, like the vast majority of these women, they're just hookers threatening to reveal the names of their Johns, which again is like, fine. Okay. That's justice, I guess. But
wait, what?
It's a very, very different thing than what is presented as the Epstein story. I want justice for the kids, for the underage people. I want justice as a geopolitical matter to figure out which intelligence agencies, if any, were involved in this, which states, if any, were involved in. That's what I'm interested in. But if it's a bunch of like hookers who did sex work at the age of 25 and then came to regret it, and now they want revenge and are claiming to be total victims, having no agency in the whole thing, to me, that just is a replay of the Me Too era, and I don't really want anything to do with that. I don't really.
Oh no, this is the line.
Grand cause of justice is served by that.
So this is the line I guess they're going to go with, is they're going to say they're blowing this all out of proportion like the Me Too era. Listen, if you're doing sex work, you still have the right to not consent. And that was that's the thing. I don't think, by the way, that all of a sudden you turn 18 and if you get trafficked, if you get lied to, manipulated such that you're going somewhere where you think you're giving some guy a massage and then he whips out his dick and you don't really know, you can't really leave. I don't think that the day you turn 18, that all of a sudden becomes fucking hunky dory and you're just a whore now. I feel like that's maybe a bad take. I'm not an expert on takes here, friends, but I feel like that's certainly a bad fucking take. Speaking of takes, though, Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, has a take. This, I know everybody saw this. This right here, this is something else.
But Trump called it a hoax yesterday.
What Trump is referring to is the hoax that the Democrats are using to try to attack him. He has never said or suggested or implied. I've talked to him about this many times. He is horrified. It's been misrepresented. He's not saying that what Epstein did is a hoax. It's a terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down.
Wait, what?
The president knows and has great sympathy for the women who.
But Trump.
Wait, that's pure 100% unadulterated QAnon, where they said that Trump actually was hanging out with Epstein to spy on him so that he could take down the fucking pedophile ring. Does anybody remember this? This is what this is straight up, this is pilled. Absolutely fucking pilled. Like, what the fuck, dude? So, here's Alex Jones talking about the same thing. Oh, more on Alex Jones during Red Light too, because I think y'all know what we're talking about during Red Light tonight. But more on Alex Jones during Red Light. Here's Alex Jones talking about all this here, talking about Trump potentially being an FBI informant.
It's a terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take the.
Also, the story keeps changing. He kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago because he was fucking hitting on a girl. The story could have been that they had a real estate deal that didn't go the way Trump wanted. There's another story that fucking Jeff Epstein stole a 16-year-old girl from the massage table area at Mar-a-Lago. Who fucking knows why they had a falling out? Trump doesn't keep his friends very long, that's for sure.
This stuff down.
Here's the deal.
Whatever Trump's doing with this Epstein thing is very paradoxical, because I know he's covering up for the CIA Mossad, because that's in MI6, that's who Epstein was. Never any evidence of him involved in any of it, and it was Trump first blew the whistle on him. I don't just believe that because it hit the news and Speaker Johnson talked about it yesterday. I already know it. You've heard it 1,000 times. We've shown the proof.
Wait, you've been shown the proof? Now you've been shown the proof? Wait a minute. Wait, whoa. You've been shown the proof? No, you haven't. Shut the fuck up.
I had to vet Trump on this 9 years ago before I endorsed him. So let's play Speaker Johnson first. Says Trump was working as an FBI informant against Epstein. Well, that's true. And the media is spinning it like, oh, this is running cover.
Wait, that's the Gateway Pundit. You're using the Gateway Pundit and you got a Liz Crokin tweet on your desk? Man, this isn't nearly as good as the time that you had trans porn up on your fucking tablet on the desk. Let's go back to that, Alex Jones.
No, he knows what they've stuck in the files now is this innuendo, which I just say go with, release it all, so what? But Liz...
Did Alex Jones malfunction?
Crokin has done a good boil down of this.
Oh no, Liz Crokin.
On that. And then Rosie O'Donnell saying he is a pedo mass rapist with no proof. We'll get to that video. But here is Speaker Johnson.
He's not saying that what Epstein did is a hoax. It's a terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff. The president knows and has great sympathy for the women who suffer these unspeakable harms. It's detestable to him. He and I have spoken about this as recently as 24 hours ago.
All true. So let's read this. Maybe pull up the HD version if you can, because it's really small time. Timeline of President Trump's takedown of Jeffrey Epstein. 1997, President Trump takes a flight on Epstein's plane, photos of it with his wife and kids, for the last time from New York to Mar-a-Lago, from Palm Beach, New Jersey.
Like, no. That's great. So Alex is buying this, or he's spreading this line because the alternative here is that he's been had, right? Like that's the alternative, is that he's been had, and these people, the last thing in the world they want to ever admit, especially Alex Jones, because he's a guy who he's like, I have the truth and nobody else has the truth, and blah blah blah. If he's been had, then why would anybody believe that he was the guy with the real truth all the rest of this time? And he's using Liz Crokin as a source. Liz Crokin is fucking a deeply unwell person. She made some movies that when we did Conspiracy Bingo, we had to stop the documentaries because some of the imagery in her movies was borderline imagery of child abuse. I don't think it met the standard, but there's just some shit I'm not trying to put out in the world on my show. And so we had to stop some of Liz Crokin's documentaries. So, Alex is he's just not having a great time. Alex had a real bad week. Oh, he's having a real bad week. We're going to, again, during Red Light, we'll talk a little bit more about the week that Alex is having. Up next, we got John Ossoff has some thoughts about this claim that Trump was a FBI informant.
But I'm sure you caught the press conference this morning. We've been talking about it through the course of the show of these survivors. You are also not a naive person. Do you think that will change anything about the politics on the Hill of support for the full release of these Epstein files by your Republican colleagues?
It's been extraordinary to see the Speaker of the House reduced to lying in order to cover up sex crimes. And for the President of the United States to move from a campaign where he and all his lieutenants promised to bring this all out into public light and now dismiss it as a hoax. I hope that reason and justice will prevail.
I hope so too. Senator John Ossoff.
My God. The Democrats are going to be able to run on this, and they'll probably still find a way to fucking snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. Like, don't get it twisted, right? This is still, like, no matter what the fuck's going on with this, the Democratic Party is still completely inept, just completely not prepared for the task, whatever the task here might be. They're not prepared for it. You're probably going to get a Democratic senator saying that they don't know. Maybe Trump was an FBI informant. These people, they're idiots. They're fucking stupid. So for a fleeting moment, towards the end of last week and the beginning of this week, sorry for not doing a show last Sunday, but boy, howdy did I enjoy the night off. For a fleeting moment, we thought maybe Trump had passed away or was in a hospital or something. And so, don't ever change New York City. Don't ever change. That's fucking Bleach. That's great. But that turned out, not to be the case. But for a fleeting moment, a lot of blue and on Blue Sky were convinced he was dead. I'm surprised they didn't say that he busted out a clone. Now there was a mass shooting since the last time we broadcast, and if you believe this or not, the line that's being run by the Scientology front group, Citizens Commission for Human Rights, is sort of what some of the Republicans and some of the Trump people are going with. Here's Gorka.
96% of attackers when you're looking at the U.S. Secret Service National Threat Assessment Center, looking at 172 mass attacks in the U.S. between 2016 and 2020, 96% were non-trans men. So I know you're focusing on this shooter being trans. The shooter was trans, and that is certainly of note. But are you...
So the CCHR website said that this person was on SSRIs, and also that the gender-affirming care drugs may have also contributed to the massacre.
Missing the bigger picture here when you zero in on that, instead of more broadly these school shooters as an epidemic, and you perhaps miss the through line that connects them all?
Well, no, because your facts obfuscate two things. You are using data based upon the predominant gun violence, which is gang-on-gang violence with zero ideological content. If you remove all of that, the gang violence on the streets of Chicago, LA, Detroit, then you come down to a...
Wait, no, mass shooting. They're talking about mass shootings. Mass shootings. These are gang stuff is usually kind of up close. To the extent that organized crime still even operates this way. It's up close and personal, and it's usually they're just going for one motherfucker.
Smaller data set. So it's like those who say, gun violence in America causes so many deaths, and then fail to note that the majority of the stats they are using refer to also suicides by gun, which of course is not what we are talking about here today. So let's concentrate on mass shootings at schools, specifically Christian or Catholic schools.
Oh, now we're going to just focus. In fact, let's narrow the data set down to just the one. So it's 100%. On this day at this time.
The data set is wholly different. So don't conflate different data sets just to make a political point. There was an ideological content to this attack. That's what terrorism is. It's not because somebody didn't get the drug deal they wanted. It is an ideological message, whether it was anti-Israel, as in this case, whether it targeted President Trump in its rhetoric, as we saw on one of the magazines written by the perpetrator on that YouTube video, or whether we saw the fact that it was anti-Christian and targeting children. That has nothing to do with gang violence. Let's not mix the two things up.
So let's narrow it down then, because by CNN's count, when you look at 32 school shootings since 2020, in which you have 4 or more people who have been killed. So these are the larger school shootings. Only 3 of 32 of those shootings were committed by transgender shooters.
Yeah, forgive me if I don't go with CNN stats, okay? CNN has proven itself to be wholly inaccurate in all kinds.
Well, then what the fuck are you doing on there? Just fucking kick him off. Kick him off. I don't fucking love this lady, whoever the fuck she is, but lady, have a little bit of self-respect. The producers have a little bit. Kick this motherfucker off. Why are you having him on here? What the fuck's the point?
Of things for the last 10 years, perpetrators of the Russia hoax, and that we didn't have an open border. So
yeah, kick him off. Kick him off. Be like, all right, never come back on my show.
Forgive me if I don't take your stats for granted.
All right, it's simple math. 2 of 32
No, it's
shootings.
not. It's distortions. You are distorting the facts. Let me be clear. In just a couple of
cut his mic.
We have seen 7 mass shootings involving people of transgender nature or who are confused in their gender. 7.
So wait, now you're whoa. He wanted to narrow it down to school shootings. We narrowed it down to school shootings. See, now he's all shootings now, all mass shootings. But although some of there were a couple where it was InfoWars that reported that it was a trans person and it wasn't even a trans person. So is he including those? Who fucking knows?
I saw what
in
you
just
tweeted.
The last couple of years.
I see
That
your
is
list of 7.
inordinately high. So
I see your
please,
list of 7. 2 of them
I'm
are
going to see
Sebastian and
I'm going to
Mr.
stick
Gorka.
with the facts and not not CNN's pseudo facts.
We can't stick with your facts because they're not accurate. In fact, in 2 of them, one of the ones you quoted.
Let's talk about CNN's reputation for accuracy.
In one of the ones in which you posted, there was no evidence that he was trans.
Right.
In another, the individual was known within his family by male pronouns and used anti-LGBT
you have an agenda.
rhetoric. No, well, let me ask you this. You've made it clear.
Oh, dude, as soon as he starts like not letting the host talk, fucking cut his mic. Like, I will go on anybody's show. I'll go on shows with people I disagree with. I'm not going to like just talk over them on their own show. I fucking don't care what they're saying. If what they're saying is so offensive to me, then I'll just dip. This is like really bad because they want access. They want access to fucking Sebastian Gorka. And so they'll let him go on there and say this fucking dumb shit. Like two or three of those on his list. I already know the 7 because they're the 7 that everybody else posts. And 2 or 3 of them, there's no evidence that the people were trans. And one of them, like she was trying to say, was actually an anti-LGBTQ hate crime, right? Where it was the targets were, sure, there were trans people involved, gay and trans people involved, but they were the targets of the shooting, not the perpetrators. So like this is all just real stupid stuff. As the councilman on my other show, Down Ballot, says, he's like, this is silly season. Up next, we got RFK Jr. up here talking about SSRI drugs. Must have got this information from CCHR, Scientology Front Group.
Yeah, we are doing those kind of studies now at NIH. We're launching studies on the potential contribution of some of the SSRI drugs and some of the other psychiatric drugs that might be contributing to violence.
Oh, dude. Again, this is another one where if what they'll do is if the person, first of all, you can't find out, right? We have, if you remember during COVID, everybody was like, making me wear a mask is a violation of my HIPAA rights. Well, actually, what would be a violation of your HIPAA rights would be your doctor going and telling the fucking news that you were on SSRI drugs after you were accused of, or, after you had participated in some kind of violent event. The HIPAA laws prevent that information from being disclosed by your doctor, your insurance company, basically anybody who has access to it. The only way anybody would know is if you yourself, or maybe your family would disclose it. I don't think your family gets busted under HIPAA. But so they'll just like say essentially that whoever it was that did the mass shooting was on SSRI drugs. That's just how they do over there at CCHR. And it's crazy, fucking crazy town that the head of the NIH is using propaganda from a space alien cult to obfuscate the problem. The problem is guns and gun culture. I don't talk a lot about it on this fucking channel. It's just not our beat. And I know a lot of people who own guns, and I would never tell you whether or not I do. But America, we have too many of them, and the culture around them is crazy. Fucking crazy gun culture. Other countries, Canada has almost as many guns per capita as we do, but they're not crazy about that shit. The problem is the guns and the culture around the guns in the United States. It's just a very violent country. Here we got Christy Nome talking about Los Angeles. Did you know if they didn't send in the shock troops, LA they'd just knock the whole fucking city down?
I won't speak to the specifics of the operations that are planned in other cities, but I do know that LA wouldn't be standing today if President Trump hadn't taken action. Then that city would have burned down if left to the devices of the mayor and the governor of that state. And so the citizens who live there, the small business owners in downtown LA, they're thankful that President Trump came in with federal law enforcement officers and helped support keeping those streets open, keep their homes and businesses from burning down, and made sure the law and order was restored.
I just want to clarify one thing you said there. You said LA wouldn't be standing if not for these federal deployments?
Oh, good job. I wish that we would have seen more, because the Face the Nation, it's another one of these things, these Sunday shows like Face the Nation, Press the Meat, or Meet the Press, I'm sorry. It's all access journalism, right? So like, I don't know what he said after that, but it certainly wasn't, Lady LA was not on fire. Lady LA, like any other city, LA has problems, but LA is pretty fucking safe. These people, this is all so fucking insane, because I would just like to introduce these people to the late 80s through about 1995. Crime in large cities, LA included, violent crime was much higher than it is today. Much higher than it is today. It just was. Even San Jose, California, which is one of the safest cities in the U.S., had a higher crime rate now than I think, or a higher violent crime rate then than the number one city, which I think it's St. Louis, if I'm not mistaken. St. Louis is the number one right now. But I think San Jose, a safe fucking city, had a higher violent crime rate then than St. Louis does now. These people this is all bullshit. Remember when they said Portland got burned down during the protests, during the uprising in 2020? And then you just like see pictures of Portland and you're like, oh, that looks like Portland. Because like nobody burned the city down. Did people light a few fires? Sure. Minneapolis, a lot of Minneapolis burned, but I don't know, man. Fucking, I don't know. We watched live on fucking this channel, probably with like 2 viewers at the time. And when I don't know who it was either the Boog or the protesters, the Boogaloo Boys or the protesters, but when they lit that fucking police station on fire, I was like, fuck yeah, burn, motherfucker. Because of what that police department had been doing to that community for fucking 20 years or more. And that's just 20 years of what most people's living memory was. But even then, the city didn't burn down. There were some fires started. You know, it's not great. Don't go around starting fires, but that's a far cry from the city being burned down. And before Trump showed up, before the feds showed up in LA was on fire, but that was like a forest fire. Like the Palisades and stuff caught on fire. That was a fucking wildfire. You know, I know they want to claim that it was fucking set by like homeless people or whatever, but there ain't no evidence that shit was set by homeless people. They're just purposely conflating a wildfire with like a civil unrest. But again, nobody was lighting downtown LA on fire. Downtown LA is a fucking safe place. I fucking hate Los Angeles, but it's a safe enough place. That's why it sucks so bad, is it's kind of boring. Up next, we got some good news. Alligator Auschwitz has been shut down by court order.
Major headline involving that highly controversial new immigration detention center in Florida known as Alligator Alcatraz. ABC News obtaining...
That's not what we were calling it.
From a state official now suggesting it could be empty in just days.
Tonight, Florida's controversial immigration...
Well, wait a minute. That's not great either. Wait, what are you doing with the people? Wait, what's gonna come of the people that are there? I probably don't want to know.
Detention center dubbed Alligator Alcatraz may be empty within days, just 2 months after it opened at an estimated $400 million cost to American taxpayers. ABC News obtaining an email from the head of the state's Division of Emergency Management, Kevin Guthrie, saying in part, "We are probably going to be down to 0 individuals within a few days."
I call it Alligator Alcatraz.
The detention center, located in the heart of the Florida Everglades, was rapidly built, capable of holding up to 3,000 detainees. President Trump and DHS touring the facility.
I mean, you don't always have land so beautiful and so secure. They have a lot of bodyguards and a lot of cops that are in the form of alligators.
The facility drawing public backlash over its location and living conditions, becoming the subject of multiple lawsuits. Last week, a federal judge in Miami ordered the detention center to wind down operations, state officials appealing the decision. Today, Governor Ron DeSantis stating the numbers are lower due to DHS deportations.
The deportations are continuing. DHS is taking people out of there, and they're moving them out.
That email from the head of Florida's Division of Emergency Management was sent to interfaith leaders who were looking to hold religious services at the facility.
Yo, they didn't even say what happened. I think one of the tribes was like, hey, this is actually on some of our sacred land, so good for them. I just wonder, like, what's going to happen to all the people that were there? I don't think they're all getting deported. Are they all getting sent to other detention centers, or is something else happening to those people? Who knows? Who knows? I don't trust these motherfuckers. I'm glad that's being shut down, but whatever. I think they just did it to do it. So up next, if you work for the federal government and you criticize the White House for any reason, actually, you should expect to be fired because, we hate cancel culture.
At least 20 of the people who signed this letter were current FEMA employees, and they've been placed on administrative leave. And I'd heard you in previous interviews suggest that those that are making accusations against the agency should put their names on the criticisms or the allegations. So now they have, and they've been placed on administrative leave. And I'm curious if it's now the policy of DHS that anytime an employee puts their name on something, publicly criticizes you or the president's leadership, that they should anticipate being put on leave or fired.
This letter was signed by many people anonymously. There was some who had their names on there, and those who had their names on there were temporary contract employees who had worked for the Department of Homeland Security for less than a year. Individuals who are not long-term FEMA employees who grab a hold of the mission to be there to go and serve individuals and are deployed across the country and have for years to make sure they're responsive to families in their time of need. So absolutely every employee will be evaluated as to if they're doing their job and if they're doing it appropriately.
All right.
So yes, the answer, that's yes. I know that that's a lot of words and that she didn't say yes, but the answer there is yes. I mean, Trump's been saying this for a while, that if you work for the federal government, that you need to be loyal to him. And that's like a crazy thing, because like people go work for the government, maybe they take a little bit less money, maybe the pension's good or whatever, but maybe the retirement plan isn't even that good, but they go there for like job security. Or maybe some people that work at FEMA, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they think it's right to work at an agency that helps when there's a disaster, and they think they have, skills that they can bring to bear on the disaster. I don't know. I mean, they certainly aren't fucking all monsters, and I just don't think that we should be in the business of having loyalty tests for people. If they work for the government, it seems wrong. I mean, obviously, like if you're like, I don't know, committing treason or something, sure, but then the word treason doesn't fucking mean anything anymore. So that I will say, this is bad on Face the Nation, not because Kristi Noem says so, but because like I don't like actually when they do these interviews and they edit them at all. I don't like it at all. If they have to edit it for TV, that's fine, but they should put the unedited version up on their website or something like that. So here is from that same interview, a question and a response, and then the response as edited.
And the one thing that we will continue to do is to make sure that he doesn't walk free in the United States of America. This individual was a known human smuggler, a MS-13 gang member, an individual who was a wife beater, and someone who was so perverted that he solicited nude photos from minors, and even his fellow human traffickers told him to knock it off. He was so sick in what he was doing and how he was treating small children. So he needs to never be in the United States of America, and our administration is making sure we're doing all that we can to bring him to justice.
See, like, this gives them ammo, but also like it's fucking just let her, if you have to edit it for TV, put a note like when it goes to commercial, just right before the commercial, go, this has been edited, go to our website to see the whole thing. This is not hard. And this makes fodder for people who think that the government, or that the mainstream media is out to get the truth tellers or whatever. I don't know if what she was saying there was true or not. I'm not super up on on this particular case, but if what she was saying was false, Like, how does she know what the other what the other fucking drug traffickers and human traffickers were doing? What is she homies with them? What she said was kind of absurd, and it's actually kind of better if it gets aired. But it's just a bad look to not, like, if you do an interview like this, to not make available the entire unedited interview. It's just a bad look, and these news organizations need to stop doing that. Up next, apparently, we're going to change the name of the Department of Defense to the Department of War, which is what it used to be called, but we decided maybe that was a bad thing to call it. I know that Department of Defense is like a dumb euphemism, and it is the Department of War, but do we have to just put it all out on the table like that? I don't know.
Restoring victory and clarity as an end state. Restoring intentionality to the use of force. So at your direction, Mr. President, the War Department is going to fight decisively, not endless conflicts. It's going to fight to win, not to lose. We're going to go on offense, not just on defense. Maximum lethality, not tepid legality. Violent effect, not politically correct. We're going to raise up warriors, not just defenders. So this War Department, Mr. President, just like America, is back. Thank you for
That's a lot of words for we plan on committing war crimes. That's a lot of words for we plan on committing war crimes. So speaking of war crimes, there was a vessel, a Venezuelan vessel that they might have had humans on it, might have had people that were trying to escape Venezuela to go seek asylum somewhere. There are any number of things that could have been going on with it. But there were an awful lot of people on that boat for it to be in a drug smuggling boat, right? You don't put like 11 or 12 people on a fucking small boat to smuggle drugs, because then now you don't have enough room for the drugs. So I don't think it doesn't make sense that it was a drug boat. But here's JD Vance on I guess the authority to destroy this fucking boat. The authority is because we say so.
With this
on the Venezuela vessel strike, what legal authority were you guys working under, and will there be an after report on the strike?
Well, I'm sure there's going to be an after report. I mean, the legal authority, and I want to talk about these kids, is that there are people who are bringing literal terrorists who are bringing deadly drugs into our country, and the President of the United States ran on a promise of stopping this poison from coming into our country. Another question?
This wasn't... We don't even know where the fuck the boat was going. They just saw a speedboat and bombed it. Or fucking probably didn't use a bomb, but they used a missile or some kind of ordnance, right? So wild. Like this is like the least of our worries this week, I suppose. Like so much shit is going on right now. They're like flooding the zone. Here's Pete Hegseth saying they have complete authority because they say so. I don't know, man. It's because they say so.
Trey, what legal authority did the Pentagon invoke to strike that boat full of drug smugglers?
We have the absolute and complete authority to conduct that. First of all, just the defense of the American people alone. 100,000 Americans were killed each year under the previous administration because of an open border and open drug traffic flow. That is an assault on the American people. I said we smoked a drug boat, and there's 11 narco terrorists at the bottom of the ocean. And when other people try to do that, they're going to meet the same fate.
That boat, there wasn't a whole lot of room for drugs if you had 11 fucking full grown ass men on that boat, dude. That was not a big fucking boat. Also, like, not for nothing, like the drugs that come into this country mostly come in through the ports of entry and the airports. They're not like on some fucking drug smuggling boat like an episode of fucking Miami Vice or something, dude. This is not, or even worse, like an episode of fucking Burn Notice, right? This is not how drugs get into this country. They get snuck in container ships and on aircraft that are basically serving the same purpose as container ships. Here's more of Gorka. I guess we will find you if you're a jihadi with American blood on your hands, or a cartel member crammed into a boat with no room for any drugs. I guess we're just gonna blow your boat up.
We have declared war on those who are murdering Americans by the tens and hundreds of thousands. If you're on the side of the cartels, you're not on the side of America. If you are turning an MS-13 human trafficker into a Maryland father, you are choosing the side of evil. 18 million Americans chose this response to the terrorists and the jihadis, of which we have killed more than 312 in the last 8 months, and also the cartels. And there's a reason. Let me just share with you how serious we are. This is the phrase. It's on the lanyard of my team from the president's first viral tweet when we took out that ISIS leader in Somalia 11 days into this administration. We will find you and we will kill you.
So you fucking stole that from that movie Taken, Liam Neeson. You think you're Liam Neeson.
If you're a jihadi with American blood on your hands, if you're a cartel member bringing powdered death into America, you have declared war on us, and we will turn you into red mist. It is that simple.
I love
it. The host is like, I love it, because it's fucking Newsmax. The guy's like fucking like under the table and shit. You can't see it, but like, oh my God, dude. So we don't know. No, but we have now the boat's fucking at the bottom of the. We don't know what was on that boat. But if there were like they say 11 narco terrorists, I think it was maybe maybe human trafficking if anything was going on. But I think it was people trying to get the fuck out of Venezuela. We would have called them refugees, except that we blew them up. I don't even want to get into Abrego Garcia. They're doing everything. That guy might as well have killed your fucking puppy, according to these people. Well, we bombed a boat off the coast of Venezuela. Why don't we just start bombing Venezuela?
Considering attacking the cartels inside of Venezuela. You attack.
Well, you're gonna find out. You're gonna find out.
Venezuela does have oil. I mean, and this is America. So if there's any reason that we would be bombing them, it would be because they have oil, and we were gonna just like the last time though. We went to war for oil and didn't get no fucking oil. That'll probably happen here in Venezuela too. Not my favorite person in the world, but on this kind of stuff, like Rand Paul has been pretty consistent. He doesn't like this stuff, and I don't know. He would rather fucking that you use a drone to shoot somebody that robbed a liquor store in Detroit or something. But here's Rand Paul on Newsmax talking about this attack on the boat.
The fact that U.S. officials describe the individuals killed by the U.S. strike as narco-terrorists does not transform them into lawful military targets. The U.S. is not engaged in an armed conflict with Venezuela or Trinidad. The strike runs afoul to the right to life under international human rights law. So the president basically said...
Yeah, look at that boat. It's hard to tell, right? But it doesn't look like if there's 11 people in this fucking boat, where the fuck is the drugs?
Terrorists, you can kill terrorists. You can't, I guess, kill drug dealers just for dealing drugs, right?
Well, this is, brings up a question. So, we assume these people were bad people and drug dealers, but if they were caught off the coast of Miami, we would stop the boat. If they don't shoot at us, we don't shoot at them. They're confiscated, they're put in jail, and then they go through a trial to prove what they were doing. And if they have 20 pounds of cocaine or heroin or something on the boat, they'll be convicted.
20 pounds? That's fucking 20 pounds? You get the fuck out of here. I mean, that's millions of dollars, but you start thinking about who's got their hand in that cookie jar. I ain't fucking, They're going to be way more than 20 pounds if they're trying to smuggle that shit. Fuck that.
Assume guilt is, what if we make a mistake and they happen to be people fleeing Venezuela, the Venezuelan dictator? I think probably that, we had the facts correct. We got bad people here. But that's the reason, like off our coast, it isn't our policy just to blow people up. We don't blow up ships entering our waters unless they're, hell-bent on attacking another ship or unless they are resisting with gunfire. Right. We arrest people. So it is difficult and it's hard because obviously they're bad people. So people are like, they want something.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know who the fuck those people were. We don't know shit. There's just a lot of people. I don't know why you would send that many of your employees or whatever on a drug smuggling boat. Doesn't make any sense. Why would you put that many people on the fucking boat?
But typically, even the worst people in our country, if we accuse somebody of a terrible...
full-grown man is 200 pounds. Instead of that 200 pounds of full-grown man, you could put 200 pounds of fucking cocaine on that boat. What the fuck?
Crime, they still get a trial, basically. They get a lawyer, they get their day in court.
Yeah. But if we're at war, you know, we blow up bad guys all the time. I think that's what they're saying. This is a war, and we do have. I mean, obviously, you know the numbers of how many people in this country die from illicit drugs that come in from Central and South America. A lot of them have fentanyl and other very dangerous ingredients in them. I mean, people drop dead all the time. I mean, they kill 100,000 people a year on a bad year. 100,000 Americans dying. That does kind of feel like a war.
It's also why in our country war is the exception. So when we have a war, it was intended that we would declare war, be a big vote of our Congress, and then at that point in time we say, if that enemy, if we are at war, let's say with Venezuela, then we say their ships are, you know, free to shoot them anywhere they are, anytime. And so we kill them off their coast, we kill them in their country, but we've declared war on them. It's a little harder here because this is a crime and this is a criminal syndicate. So look, once again, no love lost for the people who died that are trying to infiltrate our country with this filth. But at the same time, you have to realize it's not as simple as it may sound that, oh, let's just kill drug dealers, because sometimes you have to figure out who people are before you kill them. That's the problem.
Even Rand Paul's like, dude, we got to figure that, like, this dude fucking ain't no problem with the idea of killing Venezuelans, right? But again, drugs come into this country through the ports of entry and the airports. They're not smuggled on a fucking speedboat like TV in the 80s would have you believe, right? They're just a stupid way to smuggle drugs. You're fucking gonna get caught that way. That's why you sneak the drugs in with legitimate cargo. Like, this is just fucking mind-expandingly stupid. Don't worry, Jesse Waters sure likes it, though. On the 5, Jesse also probably about all this.
And yet the Democrats always have to reflexively oppose the president, even if it means siding with the narco-terrorists. Kilmar Abrego Garcia's biggest fan, Senator Chris Van Hollen, is back at it.
What this was an extrajudicial killing, pure and simple. It was illegal.
It's alarming, it's unprecedented, and it's dangerous. And it's the latest example of how Trump continues to overextend and abuse military power. He keeps pushing the boundaries to places we've never been before.
I guess it never surprised you where Democrats are go, what they'll defend or go after. But to the president's announcement a few moments ago, we all watched it live here.
The left defends narco-terrorists. Look at this chyron. Absolutely, look at that. The left defends no. I have no idea who was on that fucking boat. I just know there were too many of them on that boat. Like, there's a speedboat, dude. Come on.
News channel. Now we're talking Department of War. Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War. What do you think about all this, Jesse?
Well, I'm jealous of Pete. I mean, he got a name upgrade. I got to change my show's name. Jesse Waters Primetime just doesn't cut it.
Call it torture.
Isn't that what your show's called? So I don't know if Truman is a woke guy. From what I understand, after World War II, they needed a standing army to have troops stationed in Asia and in Europe to kind of keep the peace and maintain a posture during the Cold War. So we used to just have the draft every time we went to war. So even though we weren't at war, it was still a Cold War, and we needed to defend our interests. So we consolidated the Army, Navy, Marines, and there you go. It was the...
What about the Air Force? I guess maybe the Air Force. I don't know when the Air Force was a part of the Army at first, I believe.
Defense Department, but it's now the Department of War, and I think America's enemies are upset. You know who's really upset? Van Hollen. So there just came out today, and I'm sure Jessica saw it. The Democrats are really trying to reconnect with normal people. That was what it says. They've lost touch with normal people. Let me just explain how normal people think. When you see a video of a cocaine canoe get smoked out of the water by the U.S. military, normal people say, yeah, all right? We're like, smoke some narcos, goodbye, light them up, see you later. That's what normal people do. Normal people like to see the war on drugs fought as a war because it
Yeah, it's so hard to tell what's going on there, but this looks like a boat designed to carry people because of all the like open space like on it. If you were carrying drugs, wouldn't you want the drugs to be like hidden? There's like nowhere on the boat to hide the fucking dope. What the fuck is going on?
hasn't worked the way before. And a lot of people in America, normal people, have families that have lost people to drugs. So they see this canoe and they see a potential death coming. And we like to light this guy up. The Democrats see this and they call it an extrajudicial killing. Normal people don't talk like that. Normal people don't talk like extrajudicial. You know who talks like that? Lawyers. They have to stop sounding like lawyers. You sound weak. You sound wily. Lawyers are unpopular, almost as unpopular as pollsters, Jessica. And when you contrast that with Trump, who's taking strong action, and you have a guy that's saying extrajudicial killing, it just makes you guys look pathetic and not normal.
Yeah, I would just call that a fucking war crime. Well, it's not. You're not even at war. I would just call that fucking murder. You don't know shit about that boat. I don't know. Did they have intelligence? You think they got fucking human intelligence in Venezuela? Maybe. But that just didn't look like a boat that I don't know. I'm not a fucking drug smuggler, but I would fucking be like, can you get me a boat maybe with a compartment that closes for me to put my dope in? I don't know. I'm not a drug smuggler, but my fucking God. We got more of Waters. We're going to move on to our Army in the Streets segment of the show, I suppose. I guess Jesse Waters is the man with his finger on the pulse of the black community in Chicago.
All right. So, Jesse, should President Trump take that on?
Portland doesn't exist, Anna. I mean, they do stuff there. We cover it. It doesn't matter. I've never seen a city like this. It's not even, is this in America? They have Antifa. They have gas canisters going off. They have ice guillotines. And it's like, they
have gas canisters. Those are the cops shooting the gas canisters. Also, yeah, those are the cops shooting the gas canisters.
Happens, nothing changes. I would send them to Portland, but I'd send them anywhere. And they're not arresting people. They're just standing guard, making sure no one gets wise. And that's what they're like parents, you know?
It's called a police state.
When you see the guard. If I'm a Democrat and I have the Obama strategist that won 2 elections tell me to do something, and then you have the strategy work in D.C., the D.C. mayor now is like, yeah, the guard can stay till Christmas. And blacks are begging for the guard in Chicago.
What?
I'd say maybe cooperate with Trump. But for some reason, the Democrats don't. They're in real trouble of doing what they did with illegal immigration. Remember, they denied it was a problem. They told people what they were feeling and seeing wasn't really happening, and then they got in the way of the solution. They're really the status quo party. They don't want to change anything on trade, education, interest rates, immigration, crime.
I mean, that person shouldn't smoke, but I smoke sometimes.
That is a dangerous position to be in 2024, where you just want to have everything stay the same.
We are all this lady right here. Is that Kennedy? I don't think that's Tarlov. We are all that lady. So he said Portland doesn't exist. I mean, that's good, because the good people of Portland don't need the fucking shock troops showing up. But I love that this guy's like pretending that he talks to, like, he's got his finger on the pulse of the black community in Chicago. It's fucking ridiculous. They're begging for the National Guard. You know, yesterday, the city of Chicago came out in numbers that were shocking, surprising. The news was too early, and there's too much stuff going around where, like, you'll see fake images and whatnot. So I decided not to include any of that on tonight's show, because I don't want to. We always wait, like, when stuff happens, and I don't want to accidentally show a video that's of somewhere else or whatever, because I don't know Chicago that well. But it seems like a lot of people came out in Chicago, and I guess maybe there weren't any black people out there. I don't know. Those are just the ones, the bad ones. Those are the ones that ICE needs to pick up. So here's J.B. Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, and he's going to have a message for the people of Chicago, which is, you know, a pretty good message, I think. I didn't really know much about this guy until all this happened. I probably didn't like him. He is, in fact, like a rich guy, but he seems to be like one of the better shit libs, I suppose.
To Chicagoans, what you can do is look out for your communities and your neighbors. Know your rights. Film things that you see happening in your neighborhoods and your streets and share them with the news media. Authoritarians thrive on your silence. Be loud for America.
Yeah, that's pretty good advice. The Chicago mayor had a statement. I ended up not airing it, but the Chicago mayor came just short of saying fuck around and find out. Chicago mayor said that the people of the city aren't going to put up with it. That's pretty true. The people of Chicago are not. If they try to do what they've done in DC and Chicago, it's not going to work. It's not, you're going to have, there's going to be blood in the streets. I'm not a big fan of blood in the streets, but that's what's going to happen. He's not going to do Chicago. Baltimore, probably the same thing. Blood in the streets. He mentioned Oakland, but then he backed off of that because I don't think they want none of this smoke here. I love it here in Oakland, but this is a place where you mind your business. I don't care if you're me riding your bike to go get some tomatoes, or if you're the feds. You mind your business here and you leave fucking people alone. Here's Ted Cruz trying to go after J.B. Pritzker, and as oftentimes happens with Ted Cruz, what he's saying falls flat and seems kind of sad.
Clip. Chris, you really know how to piss me off. What a disgusting, racist bigot J.D. Pritzker is. You and I are both Latino. And listen, I don't want to get between J.B. Pritzker and the Domino's pizza line, but I'll tell you what I am willing to get between.
Does anybody stand in line at Domino's? Don't you just order and then pick it up?
Is him and his open doors for every human trafficker, every drug trafficker, every MS-13 and Trender Aragua gang member.
Trender Aragua. They don't even know the name of the thing that they're fucking pretending to be afraid of. Trending. There's a trending on Twitter.
The Democrats claim that Latinos support illegal immigration. Well, I got a news for you, JB. In the state of Texas in 2024, Donald Trump carried the Latino vote, and so did I, because our communities, like every community, are the victims.
I think that's incorrect. I think they carried Latino men. I'm not sure. I don't remember. I think they carried Latino men.
Of the violence of these illegal aliens and gang members that the Democrats trafficked into this country.
Now the Democrats trafficked into this country, the gang members, and oh my fucking God, dude. These people are wild, man. We were way ahead when we started this podcast on like a lot of the conspiracy stuff, but this stuff is kind of out of nowhere. I don't think I was even close to predicting any of this stuff. I didn't think we were going to be anywhere near here. They've just mentioned Portland. I guess Portland might be next. That's not great. The problem, well, I'll talk about it after the clip.
Yeah, I have. I have. I'm not going to say it now, but yeah, I have. We're going to go into another place and straighten it out. And I will say this: I watched today. I didn't know that was continuing to go on, but Portland is unbelievable. What's going on in Portland? The destruction of the city.
Are you going in?
Well, I'm going to look at it now because I didn't know that was still going on. This has been going on for years. So we'll be able to stop that very easily. We'll be able to stop. But that was not on my list, Portland. But when I watched television last night, this has been going on. You wouldn't be standing if you were the mayor. You would be. Can you imagine?
When I watched television last night, I watched some propagandists tell me that Portland's been on fire since the George Floyd uprising. I didn't know that. Fucking some jackass on Fox News told me that. Portland's not on fire. There are protests against Donald Trump periodically in every major city in the U.S. And in some places, Portland has a particular history of this. The temperature gets turned up, oftentimes by the police. Now, the problem I see with Portland, which is a little bit different than a lot of these other major metro areas, is that Portland is like a little dot, a little blue dot. Portland is surrounded by like red, right? And so there might be like militia that if the government goes into Portland and encounters significant resistance from the citizenry of Portland, we might end up with a situation where I think the Proud Boys are largely disbanded. But a Proud Boy-like group or a militia-like group might also go in there and start fucking doing what they do in Portland, as they always have. And so I hope he forgets about Portland, because that shit might get real bad there real fast, because there's a lot of fucking neo-Nazis and like right-wing crazies in Oregon. Here's Trump telling somebody to just be quiet and listen to him.
That's fake news. When you say that, darling, that's fake news. Well, why would the Department of Defense? Listen, be quiet. Listen. You don't listen. You never listen. That's why you're second rate. We're not going to war. We're going to clean up our cities. We're going to clean them up so they don't kill 5 people every weekend. That's not war. That's common sense.
How was your
Are you ready?
Be quiet and listen. And fucking throw your microphone or whatever at him. Fuck that. Don't let people talk to you that way. I don't care if it's the fucking president of the United States. The fuck? Could you imagine somebody telling that to Trump? He would throw a massive fit. He'd throw the biggest fit that somebody told him to shut up and listen to him. Here is our, every week we have at least one of these. Don't look away from this stuff. There were anti-ICE protesters on the Ohio-Kentucky border. And I believe this was not even the federal cops. I believe this is local PD. And this is how the protesters were dealt with. Just a little bit of a warning for those watching on video. This is quite violent. Taser that lady? Dude, that lady she just got tasered and still stood up. Dude, these people are strong. People are brave. So we're going to see one of these where there's enough people present and they get angry enough that they just fucking rush law enforcement. And that will be horrible. That'll be a bloodbath and everything will escalate from there. But we're going to see that in the next, 90 days. We're going to see that. And it's not great. There was no, as soon as they started punching that dude in the head, over and over and over again, anybody who got in their way was going to be the victim of extreme violence. Because that's the way violence works. Violence always escalates. And once it starts to escalate, it's really hard for you as a bystander, or even on the off chance that there is a member of law enforcement there that wants to de-escalate the situation. There's a very slim chance that kind of violence gets de-escalated. That person that got hit in the head, I don't know, that he was probably severely injured. I know somebody in chat saying that's what they want. They want the people to rush the cops. But the other thing, and I'm not saying that you should do that. I'm just saying it's going to happen. And I'm not going to sit here and fucking clutch my pearls about how you should fucking respect law enforcement when it does happen, you know? Here's Maria Bartiromo and Energy Secretary Chris Wright on energy production in the United States.
You've got all these projects which are, not necessarily projects that you can rely on. I mean, is the wind blowing? Is the sun shining? And yet hundreds of millions of dollars were going at these projects. Tell us more.
Most of that money was private industry. It wasn't the government. It wasn't charity. It was private industry because they thought they could make money on it.
Yeah, Maria, no one would build energy projects like these without massive government subsidies, government mandates, government expedited permitting that allows you to go over everyone's objections. So yeah, the big one at the Energy Department that we pulled back on was mutual with the utility developer as well. They knew there was no way the wind farm was actually going to be built. So why build a transmission line that half the time would just sit there doing nothing and the other half of the time would carry some variable amounts of power? They knew it was just a road to make their electricity prices more expensive. So we had a mutual parting of the ways. These are healthy dialogues about energy. We need to start thinking about Americans.
Yeah, and I don't understand why the Democrats pushed this so aggressively. I mean, was this just an ideology that they wanted to push the climate change agenda? Or, I mean, knowing that prices were going to go higher, knowing that these weren't reliable projects, the wind has to be blowing, the sun has to be shining, otherwise you're not getting anything.
It's very hard to explain, but yeah, I think it's become, as you say, an ideology that people...
Has these people never heard of batteries? You can store batteries. Battery technology has come a long fucking way. Like, just think about, and I know it's maybe not at the same scale. Think about how long your phone lasts versus like the first smartphone you ever had. Like, battery technology has come a long way. This stuff, it isn't. They're stupid. The sun doesn't actually have to be shining for solar panels to work. Obviously, on a sunny day, you do get more. But for the same reason that you can get sunburned on a cloudy day, you can create solar energy on a cloudy day. Up next, we got the job numbers. They're true, or if they're not true, or maybe they're true or they're not true, or I don't know, because they replaced the Bureau of Labor Statistics person with a Trump toady, and now the numbers are real bad. It was like 1,500 jobs or something for August. So now it's either the numbers are fake, or maybe it's the head of the Fed's fault. I don't fucking know. Let's see.
If in fact these numbers are true, it shows that President Trump was right about the Federal Reserve. They are too late, and because of the bad numbers, they likely would have been cutting in June. And if we believe the numbers, and I can tell you the one thing this administration is not going to do, and we are not going to let the Democrat media surrogates do, is during President Biden, President Harris's campaign, they told the American people, it's a vibe session. You don't understand how good you have it. President Trump was elected for change, and we are going to push through with the economic policies that are going to set the economy right. I believe by the fourth quarter, we're going to see a substantial acceleration.
Okay, well, we'll have you.
We're almost in the fourth quarter. I never noticed how the good shit that's going to happen is always like fucking 2 to 6 weeks away with these motherfuckers. Remember how people used to remember Jesus is coming back, but it was always getting pushed back by these fucking doomsday prophets and shit. They're basically doing that with the jobs numbers. Oh, the good times are coming. The good times are coming. Just wait. No, I'm not an economist, but these are like bad economic policies. It's you said that the Democrats are in a vibe session. Dude, this is pure vibes. Right? It's as evidenced by the fact that Trump shit-canned the last Bureau of Labor and Statistics person because the vibe didn't match what Trump wanted it to do. And now that the fucking vibe still doesn't match what Trump wanted to do, probably going to fucking bomb the fucking Federal Reserve or something because they haven't lowered interest rates. But lowering interest rates right now wouldn't really do anything either, because like it's not like if your produce is, gone up 40 or 50% because of the tariffs, then if your produce comes from Mexico, you're not going to go take out a loan to go buy produce. You just spend more money on produce and you have less money to spend on other things. Like it doesn't really fucking shake out that way. So this is from CNN. RFK Jr. had a hearing. This is after the hearing. We're going to show some clips from the hearing, but this has a clip from the hearing of RFK Jr. just straight up lying.
He said, I just want people to listen to your exchange today and also to Secretary Kennedy in his own words last week.
Just last week, in the days after the tragic shooting at Annunciation Catholic School in my home state of Minnesota, you went on Fox News blaming school shootings on antidepressants. You have no evidence of that because you have no evidence of a connection. And you want to talk about...
You're just saying something. You're just making stuff up.
You're just making stuff up.
This is what you say, right? Secretary Kennedy, when someone presents you with information that does not fit...
I did not blame that shooting. I have no idea and I never said that. You're making it up. You're twisting. Yeah, you are. You are being dishonest right now. At NIH, we're launching studies on the potential contribution of some of the SSRI drugs and some of the other psychiatric drugs that might be contributing to violence. Many of them on there have black box warnings that warn of suicidal ideation and homicidal ideation. So we can't exclude those as a culprit, and those are the kind of studies that we're doing.
Well, looks like he lied. He didn't just, he didn't go, oh, it's the SSRI's fault, but like that's you fucking Weasley ass motherfucker. Anyway, here is some of that stuff from that hearing. This is Liz Warren versus RFK Jr. This clip is from somebody who says that RFK Jr. like wrecked Liz Warren. We'll see.
Confirmed in this job.
You're going like
and
this.
That is, you promised that you would not take away vaccines from anyone who wanted them. You just changed the classification of the COVID vaccine.
I'm not taking them away from people, Senator.
It takes it away if you can't get it from your pharmacist.
Well, most Americans are going to be able to get it from their pharmacy for free. Most Americans will be able to get it from their pharmacy for free.
The question is, everyone who wants it, that was your promise.
I know I didn't. I never promised that I was going to recommend products with which there is no indication.
When you said,
and I know you've taken $855,000 from pharmaceutical companies, Senator.
Did you hold up a big sign saying that you were lying when you said that? Because you are the one who said you would not take them away. Now, Senator Kennedy,
I'm not taking them away from anybody.
Secretary,
you want me to indicate a product for which there is no clinical data?
Senator,
is that what you want?
Secretary Kennedy, you said you wouldn't, and now you did.
I'm not taking them away. Everybody can get access to them.
No.
He didn't wreck her. He threw a temper tantrum. Because he assured everybody that he wasn't going to do this kind of shit when he was at his confirmation hearing. Now that's they're stupid for believing this lying sack of shit. Now let's be clear here. I do not believe that Liz Warren, and it was good that Bernie was sitting next to her. I do not believe that Liz Warren voted to confirm him. What a giant piece of shit. What just a fucking absolute piece of shit. This is how he every time he's questioned about his behavior, he starts every other people are like, oh, he sure stood up to her. What I saw was a fucking little temper tantrum, like a little boy who was being told no. Here's Bernie versus RFK Jr. at that same hearing.
You've got the entire medical community on one side. You got the AMA representing hundreds of thousands of doctors, the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Public Health Association. All of these organizations are telling us that COVID vaccine and vaccines in general are safe and effective. You are casting doubt on that. Who are who are the organizations that are agreeing with you and casting aspersions on vaccines?
The primary advisors are Marty McCary, Jay Bhattacharya, Dr. Oz, Vinay Prasad.
So you got a few
podcasters. He means podcasters or podcast guests.
Doctors who agree with you, and I'm giving you
not a few doctors. What you're talking about is there's a big difference, Senator, between established science and the scientific establishment, which has been co-opted by the pharmaceutical industry.
So you're telling the American people that the American Medical Association, representing hundreds of thousands of people, have been co-opted and that they should not trust their doctors. And the American Academy of Pediatrics, and by the way, just for the record, every single Republican, I don't mean to be political here, Mr. Chairman, has received PAC money from the pharmaceutical industry. Are they all corrupt as well?
And I'm telling you, the American Heart Association has been co-opted by the food
Everybody
industry.
But you, Senator. But you know what? When you
fuck yeah, Bernie. Fuck yeah, everybody but you is corrupt. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
We have a corrupt campaign finance system. Maybe you'll agree with me on that. Okay, you were already president, you had $1 billion behind it. You received $300,000 from people, not from the industry, people in it, as I did, from individuals. You corrupt. President Trump got $3 million. Every Republican got corporate PAC money for the pharmaceutical industry. Democrats as well. Everybody is corrupt, but you? Is that what we're looking at? I don't think so. And I think the issue now...
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Well, I think you do know what I'm talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The issue is every time anyone disagrees with you...
Are you saying the pharmaceutical industry was supporting my presidential campaign?
I'm saying,
I don't think so.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that the pharmaceutical industry is a greedy institution which is charging us the highest prices in the world. They are pervasive. But to suggest that every institution, the AMA, the pediatrics people, If corrupt because they disagree with you is an insult to the
It's not
American
that, listen, people disagree with me all the time. I have arguments in my agency, heated arguments every day with Jay Bhattacharya, with Marty McCary, with Dr. Oz.
You have given the names of a few people. I have given you the names of organizations representing hundreds of thousands of doctors and scientists. I yield, Mr. President.
Fuck yeah, dude. He just mentioned, I mean, the only thing Bernie could have done better was be like, dude, those are just podcasters. Like, but, oh man, fucking this guy, dude, he's like the only one like even equipped to deal with him kind of is Bernie Sanders, because Bernie has like this way about him where he'll tell somebody that they're full of shit and he'll like use sarcasm and mockery in a way. The other people aren't going to do it. Here's Senator Warnock versus RFK Jr.
Okay, I think that we all have a history of listening to you and these answers, but you're on the record for a number of these statements. Despite your lack of credentials and expertise, clearly you have an agenda. It is a threat to the public health of the American people. It's clear that you are carrying out your extremist beliefs. Which is why you attempted to fire Dr.
We're the sickest people in the world. We're the sickest people on earth.
I'm speaking.
How am I a threat?
Secretary Kennedy, for the first time, we're seeing deaths from children from measles. We haven't seen that in 2 decades. We're seeing that under your watch. You are a hazard to the health of the American people.
Can I respond?
I claim back my time.
We need to wrap
You are
up.
a hazard to the health of the American people. I think that you ought to resign. And if you don't resign, the President of the United States, who put forward Operation Warp Speed, which worked, should fire you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Trump ain't gonna fire fucking RFK Jr. though, because he fucking needs the support of the anti-vaxxers. Here's a Republican, Senator Bill Cassidy, a Republican from Louisiana. If y'all remember, this was one of the guys that was going to hold him up. Remember, this was the guy that was going to be the reason he didn't get confirmed. And then RFK Jr., I don't know, fucking told him like some story about how he was going to just follow like the established scientific procedures or whatever. And this stupid motherfucker believed him. This guy's like a medical professional and could have just really easily looked up RFK Jr.'s history on this, probably knew the history on this. He was just afraid to buck Donald Trump. And so here he is now fucking trying to act like he isn't like the one person who could have stopped this.
Mr. Secretary, do you agree with me that the president deserves a Nobel Prize for Operation Warp Speed?
Yeah, absolutely, Senator. That was phenomenal.
Let me ask you, but you just told Senator Bennett that the COVID vaccine killed more people than COVID.
Wait,
that was a statement.
I did not say that.
Okay, then let me.
He probably, dude. This was like 10 minutes ago, right? At this time, he fucking said that shit, or he like said something that is totally interpreted that way.
Ask because you also,
Senator. I just want to make clear, I did not say that.
We'll check the record. That's a question of fact. You also said that you were also, as lead attorney for the Children's Health Defense, you engaged in multiple lawsuits attempting to restrict access to the COVID vaccine. Again, it surprises me that you think so highly of Operation Warp Speed when, as an attorney, you attempted to restrict access. Now, let me ask.
I'm happy to explain why.
I had 3 minutes and 30 seconds left.
Dude, the motherfucker lies about what he just said 5 fucking minutes ago. There's nothing you can do about this. I mean, they got him, but like what now? Like nothing. What now? He's just gonna come back in front of Congress in a month and fucking yell at them again and fucking. Oh, by the way, you notice like of all the people that he's like spent time and yelled at during this, the 2 white guys that he talked to, he did a little less of it, right? The black guy Warnock, he kind of freaked out on, and Elizabeth Warren, he fucking was real rude to. Just things that we should notice about the world around us. There's Greg Gutfeld, who doesn't understand the purpose of giving people vaccines to help other people.
The difference between RFK Jr. and, a lot of other cabinet secretaries is he has been passionate about this work for decades. And someone like Interior Secretary Doug Burgum, I think he's fantastic. I think he's had a lot of success as a governor in his state, and he knows a lot about energy, but he's not been fueled by this the way RFK Jr. has. And that's what's frustrating to a lot of the senators is he has answers for these things. And he has a team of advisors that he has been working with. And I disagree with him on a lot of stuff, but at least he makes me think about vaccines.
Yeah.
At least I have conversations.
Wait, at least he makes me think about vaccines. The point of a good vaccine is that you don't have to think about it. I'm sorry, I don't mean to to seem like anti-intellectual or like a shill for the establishment, but the point, until the anti-vaccine movement got real big on the internet, before that, when did any of you think of everything about the chickenpox vaccine that you got, if you were young enough to have gotten it? Any of you think about measles, the MMR vaccine maybe that you got? Think about the polio vaccine that many of us got when we were younger? Any of you ever think about that shit? I don't think about it very often. That's the point of a fucking vaccine. It's the point of anything that just works, like a light bulb. You only think about the light bulb when it burns out and you just go get another one, right? You don't crusade against light bulbs.
With people who are having babies now, and even the schedule that they're giving kids now is vastly different than 16 years ago, the last time that I had to have these sensitive conversations with the pediatrician. I think that's the best thing we can do as a society, and have these honest discussions about how we look and what we're putting in our bodies and the solutions we're giving our children when we're failing them, when all of these institutions are failing him. So if Trump was elected to be a disruptor and to dismantle things as a limited government libertarian, I cheer that, even if I might have some fundamental issues with what he's saying. I believe in the work that he's doing.
You're right. I mean, just aside before we go to Harold, I didn't look at vaccines obviously until I had to. I knew about it, but like the Hep B vaccine, your baby has to get the Hep B vaccine. I go, well, what are the risk factors? Well, if your mother has Hep B. And how did you get it? Well, through syringes or having sex with that. It's like, we're not in that group.
No.
We're not in that. Well, you should still get.
But the point of it is because maybe as a young adult or whatever, they will fucking not get it. The point of getting the Hep B vaccine, giving it to everybody, is that, I don't know, when you start to become sexually active or whatever, it's better to have just already had it.
As a community preventive thing, I go, what does that mean exactly? My kid doesn't need this, and yet they tell you that it's required or suggested, and if you say no, they make you feel guilty.
Well, is it required? I don't think it's required. You can be a dumb fuck and not do that, I suppose.
I think that's it for tonight. So, Harold.
I have a slightly different opinion about this than the people around the table on a couple of different fronts. I have kids like you do, and in New York City, your kids can't go to school unless they have a certain number of vaccines. And my wife and I put our kids on a schedule. They got their vaccines. We asked questions, but we adhered to and believed in the guidelines. As I listened to Mr. Kennedy today, it was disappointing because I think he's a serious guy, but he was not serious today. The reason I was most excited about him becoming HHS secretary was about food and looking at the food supply and trying to understand the connection between that and allowing people to live healthier lives. I didn't think he got to any of that. Much of the criticism, Greg, around vaccines that he encountered today, it was as much from Republicans as it was Democrats. In fact, the leader of the committee, Bill Cassidy, he was the one that said, you are denying people vaccines. That wasn't a Democrat. The first person to say that was Senator Cassidy. He was followed up by the senator from Wyoming and even Senator Tillis asking these questions.
Yeah, it makes you uncomfortable. This guy's a fucking crank, dude. This guy's a fucking crank. And Bill Cassidy is the reason he's there. Bill Cassidy was the deciding vote. He could have made it so that the motherfucker shit didn't get out of committee, but then he got bamboozled and got the razzle dazzle from this fucking con artist. I was like, all right, I guess so. Fucking dumbass. So the only thing we can hope for as far as RFK Jr. goes, and I feel like this is actually a pretty decent thing, a pretty decent chance that's going to happen, is that if people keep pressing Donald Trump on this, because Donald Trump thinks that he is like all that in a bag of chips and shit because of Operation Warp Speed. And hopefully people can get Donald Trump pissed off at RFK Jr. for like degrading Operation Warp Speed or whatever, and then Donald Trump, will fire RFK Jr. Not for any like real reason except out of personal grievance, and that's like the best we can hope for here, I think.
Can I ask you another Florida question? The vaccine mandates that were rolled back for school children. What do you think about that?
Well, I think we have to be very careful. Look, you have some vaccines that are so amazing. The polio vaccine, I happen to think, is amazing.
Isn't polio eradicated to the point where people don't get the polio vaccine anymore? I could be mistaken here, but people aren't vaccinated for polio anymore, are they?
A lot of people think that COVID is amazing. You know, there are many people that believe strongly in that, but you have some vaccines that are so incredible. And I think you have to be very careful when you say that some people don't have to be vaccinated. It's a very tough position. So I'd give you an answer. I'll give you a feeling, but just initially I heard about it yesterday, and it's a tough stance. Look, you have vaccines that work. They just pure and simple work. They're not controversial at all. And I think those vaccines should be used. Otherwise, some people are going to catch it and they endanger other people. And when you don't have controversy at all, I think people should take it. Okay? One more.
But the controversy around vaccines has been manufactured by content creators, some of whom may or may not even believe in what they're saying so that they can get clicks, man. Anti-vaccine content is big fucking money. But again, like, I don't think Donald Trump is a fucking anti-vaxxer. And I think that even if he kind of used to be, I think his ego is so fucking big that he wants to take credit for enabling the COVID vaccines. And that's going to be way more important than any loyalty that he might have to RFK Jr. or any lingering suspicion that he may have had previously about vaccines. So, I mean, we saw it with Elon Musk already, where Trump's ego and Elon's ego clashed. And I'm just fucking, man, I'm hoping that happens and that fucking Trump replaces RFK Jr. with somebody boring. Maybe that person's loyal to Trump. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're fucking just some fucking bureaucrat Republican that doesn't know anything about it and just does what the fucking medical associations say so that they don't have to fucking worry about it. Who fucking knows? But my hope here is that these egos clash and that Trump gets mad at this dude for like undermining Operation Warp Speed. Anyway, here's Trump going the other way, saying that we're going to figure out autism, apparently.
On RFK Jr.? Well, he's a different kind of a guy. He's got a lot of good ideas, but he's got a lot of ideas. You know, normally they don't have any ideas, and that's why we have problems with autism and so many other things, because we're coming up with the answers for autism. You watch. We're coming up with the answers for other things that normal...
Yeah, but your answer is going to be eugenics.
People, regular people, easy to get along with people, wouldn't be able to do. He's got a lot of ideas, and so do I, and we're going to clean it up.
Yeah, he's gonna part ways with him, and I just got word from the chat that the polio vaccine is actually on the schedule for young children. So just for anybody who's mad at me for having been wrong about that. So up next, this person has been nominated to be a federal judge for the 3rd District. So I'm sure this person's going to be great. No problems at all with this person. We're not going to watch anything wild, crazy, stupid, or otherwise concerning here.
Would the president be immune from prosecution if he ordered SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political opponent? No.
Senator, under the Supreme Court precedent on that question, the Supreme Court has specifically not answered it.
Is that a difficult question? Is that an open question in your view?
Well, Senator, under the contours of Trump versus United States, which deals with criminal immunity, I'm not sure that it fully answers all of the political mechanisms that would be in place to address and keep such a horrific situation from ever occurring.
So you're unclear as to whether a president could be prosecuted for that. Is that what you're saying? You don't know the answer?
Well, I think what I'm saying is that within the particular contours of criminal immunity discussed in that opinion, it addresses actually what is an official act. And so I think the first threshold question would be whether one could ever conceive of such a thing as an official act.
I don't want to filibuster my question. It's very simple. If the president tomorrow to order SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political opponent, in your view, is he immune from criminal prosecution absent an impeachment first.
If it's not an official act, a phrase that has not yet been fully
If he's
defined in the
using the
courts,
military to do it, which the court said he has absolute immunity when he deploys the military, is he immune or not?
well, I don't read the court's decision to say that any use of the military outside of official acts comes within its immunity contours. And as this body knows, because of various drone strikes and other
under the
things.
question I asked you, what's the answer, Professor? Yes or no? You're used to
Senator,
answering questions and asking your student questions. I'm asking you a very simple question. Yes or no? Is the president immune if he uses SEAL Team 6 to kill a political opponent?
Senator,
yes or no?
With respect,
okay.
I think the Supreme
With respect,
Court,
you're not willing to answer the question. Let me ask you a different question.
Dude, just say no. Say no. I don't believe that. Oh, then the Republicans will buck on you because they specifically, probably a lot of the Republicans there want the president to use SEAL Team 6 to assassinate Adam Schiff, right? I don't be loving Adam Schiff or whatever, but that's a good question. And like, why not just say no? Just say no, that no, you can't do that. That's illegal. But it might not be. Also, maybe Schiff, stop giving the guy some ideas. So, I thought about not putting this on the docket. I thought about maybe putting this in for red light, but this is Senator John Kennedy warning you that radioactive shrimp could turn you into an alien. Like in the movie.
Mr. President, this is a photograph of the alien.
That's probably a still from a video. I mean, video is a kind of photograph. It's a motion picture.
From the movie Alien. This is what you could end up looking like if you eat some of the raw, frozen shrimp being sent to the United States by other countries. Now, let me tell you what I'm talking about. In late August,
please do.
The FDA found that raw frozen shrimp from Indonesia was being sold in Walmart. Specifically in Walmart stores in Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Louisiana, Missouri, Mississippi, Ohio, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, Texas, and West Virginia. It was being sold under the Walmart label called the Great Value label. If you eat it, how could you end up looking like the alien in the Alien? Because the shrimp was radioactive. I kid you not. It had a radioactive isotope in it called cesium-137. It'll kill you.
Oh, do you think that's fallout from a Japanese reactor that went? You think that's still fallout from Fukushima? It might be.
If it doesn't turn you into the alien if you eat this stuff, I guarantee you'll grow an extra ear. That was bad enough. Obviously, the FDA issued a recall. A few days later, it happened again. The FDA and NOAA, which I'll talk about in a second, found that there were 26,460 packages of shrimp cocktail and 18,000 bags of frozen cooked shrimp being sold once again at Walmart and at Kroger's throughout the United States, containing the same radioactive isotope.
Literally, it's the same shrimp from the same batch, packaged differently. That's why.
How could this happen in America? This is unconscionable. I'll tell you how. Because that shrimp from other countries which don't abide by the same rules that we abide by in America, which if you eat it will turn you, may turn you into the alien, and at a minimum will cause you to grow an extra ear. It's not being inspected. It's supposed to be. It's supposed to be inspected by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. We call it NOAA. It's part of the...
Wait, is that NOAA's job to fucking inspect the fish? I would think that would be the FDA. Right? No, I don't think NOAA inspects fish. I know fish are in the ocean, and the O in NOAA is for the ocean. But I'm not even sure if he thinks Noah is just a guy named Noah, or that's spelled differently.
Commerce. And yes, they're inspecting some of it, about 1%. On a good day, 2%. The United Kingdom inspects 50% of the foreign seafood coming into its nation. Even China does a better job than the United States of America. This is unconscionable, Mr. President. There's no excuse.
Mr. President. Oh man, it's bad, but like the levels, like people don't eat a lot of shrimp. I don't know, man. I'll try the radioactive shrimp. What the fuck, man? I've done ketamine off of a toilet lid at a rave. I'm immune to fucking all toxins. This happened. And I just like, I don't know what the fuck's going on here. This looks like a scene from The Wire. Did Omar come up and just be like, yo, and then they just drop the dope out? Like, what's going on? What is happening?
Let me see. Yeah, let's say in that little outhouse on the end. Oh, somebody there, right? Right now, right? Oh, there you go. You got it.
Like, what is happening? Anybody fucking like why are they throwing a bag out of the White House? Trump has an answer for it though. Don't worry, friends. It's fucking clearly AI generated. The reason I don't think it was AI generated or fake is that the context of the video, it sounded like they had like a party, and for whatever reason, maybe they'd already dropped something out the window and somebody was videotaping it, and the people were like talking about what was going on. It was hard to understand them, but they were talking about what's going on. So I don't think that was fucking computer generated. So here. Don't worry though. The president has some hypotheses about what's going on.
There is a video that is circulating online now of the White House where a window is open to the residents upstairs and somebody is throwing a big bag out the window. Have you seen this?
No, that's probably AI generated. Actually, you can't open the windows. You know why? They're all heavily armored and bulletproof.
So that's a fake video?
Well, it's got to be, because I know every window up there. The last place I'd be doing it is that, because there's cameras all over the place, right? Including yours. No, but every window, I've never seen a window that's... In fact, my wife was complaining about it the other day. She said, love to have a little fresh air come in, but you can't. They're bulletproof. And number one, they're sealed. And number two, each window weighs about 600 pounds. You have to be pretty strong to open them up. No, that has to be...
But wait, they're sealed or they're too heavy to open? Like, he's just spitballing here. I don't know what happened. I just don't think the video's fake because of the other context clues.
Where's the window? Let me see.
Maybe from the renovations.
Which is the window?
It looks like this is on the 15th Street side, I think. Yeah. So right here.
Yeah, those windows are sealed. Those windows they're all sealed. You can't open them.
What you were saying regarding the federal...
It's the kind of thing they do. And one of the problems we have with AI, it's both good and bad. If something happens really bad, just blame AI. But also they create things, it works both ways.
This isn't really bad. This is just funny. He even offered to give him an out. He's like, aren't there renovations happening in that part of the White House? He could have said, oh, it might have been the construction people. They might have just thrown the bag out the window because they didn't want to run it down.
really bad, maybe I'll have to just blame AI. But there's truth to it because I see so many phony things. I saw something as I was growing up, from the time I was a baby till now. I said, who did that? It was AI generated. So it's a little bit scary.
Wait, from the time wait, what? What are you, dude, shut up.
Be honest with you, but those windows are all very heavily sealed.
Thank you, Mr. President.
He's like, from the time I was a little baby. Like, what are you talking about, dude? Oh, just say there's construction going on. I don't know what happened. I just, from the context clues in the video, the people talking about it essentially leads me to believe it's not AI generated. It could be fake, but who knows? I think I lean toward it's not, but I also lean toward it's probably not a big deal. It's probably fucking nothing. There's renovations happening. He's covering the place in gold. Maybe they just threw a bag of fucking scrap gold out the window or something. If they were strong enough to lift all that gold, they were strong enough to lift the window. So this guy seems pretty okay. His name is Graham Plattner, and he's running against Susan Collins in Maine for the U.S. Senate.
Now, Susan Collins' charade is wearing thin. This is the easiest applause lines in these speeches. No one cares that you pretend to be remorseful as you sell out to lobbyists. No one cares while you sell out to corporations, and no one cares while you sell out to a president who are all engineering the greatest redistribution of wealth from the working class to the ruling class in American history. Symbolic opposition does not reopen hospitals. Weak condemnations do not bring back Roe v. Wade. Selling out the same working class voters who've delivered mandate for change after mandate for change is not forgivable. A performative politics that enables the destruction of our way of life is disqualifying for the role of United States Senator. Maine deserves better than Susan Collins. And Maine deserves an alternative who is not at risk of being mistaken as being beholden to the same status quo that she is. I am running because it is time for change.
Yeah, Susan Collins been playing this game for a very long time where she's like, oh, I'm a Republican. And then fucking some people like moderates who maybe don't like Republicans, they go and vote for her because like they don't think she's going to just be a fucking Republican, even though she's just a fucking Republican. I don't think it's going to work. Like Maine is a blue state. And I think that this guy is like going like right at her and has a pretty good chance of winning from what I've seen so far. Although, I don't know. The Democratic Party might be like, I don't know, he seems like a socialist, and then not back him, which is probably what they're going to fucking do, right? Because that's what the Democratic Party does, right? If somebody comes along who's actually speaking in a way that people understand, people like, they're talking about things that matter to people, and the Democratic Party's like, well, we can't have that. On that same note, here's Zoran Mandami, and he's extremely good at all this, and the Dems should take note, but instead they're going to be like, I don't know if I can support him. He seems a Muslim-y to me.
How are you thinking about preparing for the job itself in terms of having this threat looming over it?
You have to prepare for the inevitability of Donald Trump to continue being Donald Trump.
We cannot, as you've said, rely on any notion of the law or what is appropriate for how he will determine his course of actions. And I look at California as an example, such that we are ready here in New York City on January 1st with a plan of partnership across city and state government to be ready, whether it's for the deployment of the National Guard or it's for his attempt to pass legislation like the one he just did, which will take an axe to so much of what keeps so many New Yorkers afloat. And I think we've seen what New York City can gain if we have a mayor who is willing to collaborate with Donald Trump, which is not that much at all. We've had money directly taken out of bank accounts. We've had a 6-year-old public school student from Jackson Heights being deported. This is what we have when you want to work with Donald Trump. We've seen what it looks like to manage Donald Trump, which is what we see in Andrew Cuomo. We need someone who's actually willing to fight Donald Trump. And we've seen examples of that right here in New York with Kathy Hochul. We've seen examples of that in California. It's time to have that in City Hall.
Hell yeah. This guy's going to get no support from the Democratic establishment. It's not going to matter though. And this, guys like him and Plattner might be the beginning of sort of the end of the leadership in the Democratic Party, which is good. Those people are all fucking old and out of touch. It's time for new leadership. I don't know who's up to the task. Like Bernie's too old, but like in the House, AOC's good. Actually, I don't know who else. Maybe AOC. Yeah, I don't know. Democrats don't have the deepest bench in the world. So this one's pretty funny. I almost put it in red light. So this is Sean Hannity's program. He still has a radio program. You can tell it's a radio program because of how boomy and bassy that the fucking mic he's using is. But it's one of his viewers is calling from California and just kind of being like, hey, man, could you fucking chill out and not talk so much shit on my state? Check this out.
James in California, the United Socialist Utopia of podcaster and Trump troller, do nothing Gavin Newsom. What's up, James? How are you?
Hey, how you doing? Well, I just have to say that, you're always picking on California. California's a horrible place. California's got all these problems. Remember, it's a giant state.
By the way, I lived there 5 years. It's a beautiful state in terms of geography. Beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I live in Southern California. I live in Orange County, California. I live in a city called...
I know Orange County well. I lived in Santa Barbara.
Great. Well, I feel safe. I think the police do a good job. They're handling homeless. The Orange County prosecutor, he prosecutes.
Let me ask you a series of questions. You want to defend California here. Are you okay? You're perfectly fine paying the highest property taxes in the country. That's okay with you?
Actually, sir, I don't think we pay the highest property tax.
No, you do. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're happy paying the highest income taxes in the country. You have Prop 13.
But not property taxes. Property taxes.
Okay, you're follow me. You're okay with paying the highest income taxes in the country, the highest sales taxes in the country,
actually,
the highest gas taxes in the country. You're paying more than twice per gallon than I pay in my free state of Florida. You're okay with that?
Do you have a sales tax?
Okay. The highest sales tax in the country is California. The highest income tax is California.
It's 7%.
The highest gas tax is California. Why don't you just answer? You're happy with that? You're okay with that?
I mean,
you have some of the worst schools in the country. Your homeless problem is so out of control all over.
Wait a minute. No, hold on this. California is like in the middle of the pack on education.
And if you're not aware of it, you're not getting outside of where you live in Orange County.
No, but
you have some of the worst schools in the country. You pay.
Oh, Hannity does this thing too, where he puts, how like when I talk over the video will duck. It'll get quieter. Hannity does that to the people that call his show.
Billions of dollars in services for illegal immigrants because you're a sanctuary state. Are you okay with all of that?
I never said I was okay with all that. I said where I live here in California and the place where I live in, I'm very happy with that.
Then stay there. Then don't leave.
Hey.
I wouldn't want you to bring your crazy politics to my free state of Florida. Stay right where you are.
How are we talking about politics? I never mentioned what I am or my politics. Are you just assuming that?
Okay, if you're okay with the highest sales taxes and gas taxes, and you're okay with some of the worst schools in the country, some of the worst crime.
The dude tried to just tell him that the base sales tax in California is 7%, and he talked right the fuck over him. Where I am, it's higher. Oakland is higher. Where I was at in San Jose, it was much higher. Where I was at in Campbell, it was even higher than that. But 7% sales tax, I don't think that's the highest sales tax. I bet the municipality or the place in the country with the highest sales tax is probably in California. It might be Santa Clara County, actually.
The highest homeless rate in the country. You have these outdoor drug dens all over Southern and Northern California. People shooting up in the streets. If you're okay with all of that, then you go stay there. Don't move. Let me ask you: do you know anybody in the Pacific Palisades whose home burned to the ground?
Whoa, that is a fucking, as you would say, an act of God. That was a wildfire.
Actually, I do. I actually do.
Well, let me ask you: are you upset with your state that they don't practice the science of forestry and clear out the debris? Are you upset with the fact that homes could have been saved if the fire hydrants had water in them and the reservoir?
Oh no! Oh God! Fucking okay. So like, when you get up into the hills, right? The water, it has to be pumped up the hill, and so you start tapping a bunch of those fire hydrants at the same time. They don't work. They can't. It's just physics.
War wasn't empty. Are you at all upset that 8 months later, only a little over 100 over the 13,000 people that lost their homes, they can't get a building permit? Are you happy with your government?
Consider Pacific Palisades a forest. That's not
okay. Well, Santa Ana winds and wildfires are predictable in your state, are they not?
Yes, sir. And it's, you know what, fires.
So it's pretty incompetent if it's predictable that you would need water in a fire hydrant and a reservoir, wouldn't you?
I feel bad for this guy because I bet this guy's a Republican and he's just tired of like listening to Sean Hannity like shit on his state. I mean, I don't know, man. Don't be a fucking Republican if you don't like Sean Hannity doing this. So somebody in chat did correct me. California does have the highest base sales tax, and I would be willing to bet that the highest locality or county sales tax is in Santa Clara County. That's where San Jose is, and that's also where I used to live in Campbell, and for a minute in San Jose. That was stupid. What I don't like there is that Hannity kept cutting the guy off, and like it's not like the guy was trying to go on and on and on and on and on. The guy was just trying to explain things to him. And even if I think this is a base rate, is it 8.25 or is 8.25? I forget. But like, if California is the highest, it's probably the highest by like a slim margin. I don't know. But the point there was that like Hannity was like, if he didn't want to talk to the guy or whatever, he should have just hung up on him. Don't take fucking phone calls from people if you're not going to let them talk. What's the fucking point of taking phone calls? The show that we all like, I suppose, that takes phone calls is The Majority Report. Sam doesn't let people go on and on and on and on and on, but he doesn't just fucking talk over them as soon as they start saying something if he disagrees with them. He'll just fucking hang up on him and call him an idiot, which I think is fine. So there's a story with Rudy Giuliani. He got arrested with like some fucking young woman was in the car with it. We're going to learn something about this. We're going to learn something about this Rudy Giuliani thing that happened.
She tried to swerve.
I mean, that must have been part. There was something because we were moving at a
going like this. She's looking over there.
Right. Because she must have gone in the median.
Well, she must have gone that way.
Yeah. So I see the car. First question: is there anyone else in that car? As I see this woman coming out, she says no. That's important, right? Because you gotta. And then I see her. She's obviously upset and distraught. All I care though is that she's okay. I grab her. Or, I try to, I get up close to her and just make sure she's okay.
Whoa. If somebody was just in a car accident, do not put your hands on them. Don't put your hands on anybody. If somebody was just in a car accident, like, and it looks like maybe people were injured or whatever, if to the extent that you can intervene, you should tell them to you're like, hey, sit down. I called the emergency services or whatever. Sit down. Why didn't she say that fucking, why? So this guy randomly came across. Who is this guy?
She seemed fine. I don't want to say fine, right? But she at least seemed like, nothing
they
needed
say
immediate
they're
attention.
investigating. I would be very upset if they charged her, and I would stop it. I would do everything I could.
Of course, we have no plan.
I wouldn't even testify against her.
What is he wearing?
I think the woman made a mistake, and she should move on with her life.
Oh, God, God bless. Yeah, a 19-year-old.
Everybody makes mistakes. If she made a mistake, maybe she didn't even make a mistake. Maybe it was understandable. In any event, the poor woman didn't mean any harm to anybody. And thank God it all worked out okay. I'm fine. He's fine. Little rehabilitation.
Wait a minute. He's fine. Hold on. I'm confused. Was he in the car? Because he said he came up and asked if anybody else was in the car. Oh, was he part of the accident? Like, what is going on here? Who is this guy? Were they like, was he just following them somewhere? Like, who is this guy? And like, well, if he was following them somewhere, he would have known that there was somebody else in the car. Why did she say there wasn't somebody else in the car? What happened here? We gotta find out more about this. Something else is going on here. Like, something else is going on. Here's a little bit. Here's him. This is from the same interview where he's like, Democrats are happy because such and such a who's it. Something else is going on here. Like my friend Ellen, when we were younger, and somebody would like kind of tell some kind of tale where she was like, she just afterward, maybe the person would leave or they'd be out of earshot, and she'd be like, "What's really going on?" And that's what I'm asking here. What's really going on?
That's it. The Democrats are happy. They got a certain amount of pain. It hurts. I'm gonna tell the Democrats that.
People.
If you guys want a little, you want to get a little lust. What are you, bloodlust? This was really painful, guys. You never did any pain to me like this. I could always handle your pain because you're a bunch of phony bastards. Boy, are you terrible.
He's like, when other people get injured, it's not bad. But when I get injured, it's bad. Who is this woman? Why did she tell this other guy? Wait, what? Why did she tell somebody that there was nobody else in the car when when anybody was in the car and injured? What the fuck is going on here?
Are you Democrats terrible? I don't know what has happened to you. You actually amaze me, and I'm getting to move you into the category of evil now.
Something's going on here. So I don't know who this guy is. He seems to know Rudy, but yet he said that he came up to the car. He said he approached the car or whatever because he saw the accident, and he asked if anybody else was in the car. And then like, she said nobody else was in the car, but then Rudy was in the car. What the fuck happened? Why would he, what do you mean not testify against her? If there's an investigation, if it was just a car accident, there's not really gonna, like, car accidents happen all the time, and it wouldn't be a criminal matter if he was hurt or whatever. If somebody was hurt, maybe his insurance company or her insurance company might not want to pay, and then somebody would be taking a statement from him about it. Like, what is going on here? What the absolute fuck is going on? We got to find out. Anyway, we got two more before we go into red light. This one went long, 2.5 hours before we went into red light this week. This is, I guess Tucker wants some sex ed from Pete Buttigieg.
It's happening around the country. I'll give you a Pete Buttigieg. I don't know Pete Buttigieg.
The fake gay guy?
I have a friend who thinks he's a fake gay. Or is his favorite
my gay producer was always like, he's not gay. He was with a girl like 20 minutes ago, and like, he wants to be the Democratic nominee. It's like, time for a gay guy.
It's playing the long game. I mean, that's going down. Look.
Well, it's suffering for your art. I'll say that.
Just because I don't know him, I know 100 Pete Buttigiegs. I know this character.
Oh, I do too.
And he went to the elite school, and then he goes to McKinsey, and then he does the checks. And I think
then finds some benighted Midwestern town that he can just like become mayor of.
I'm a mayor now. Talk about I was talking to a big Democrat figure, and he said, say what you will about Pete, he's the greatest careerist we've ever seen. You're mayor of this tiny town. You become the Secretary of Transportation.
No, but of course. But the town kind of sucks. Actually, he didn't do a good job. If it didn't have the college Pulitzer. But I've always wanted to interview him. He's never agreed to interview, but I'm going to ask him like some very specific questions about gay sex and see if he can even answer. I doubt he even knows.
Where does?
Yeah, no, totally.
I don't. I'm not
gay, dude. Stop.
What the fuck? Dude, I'm pretty sure that that's not the problem with Mayor Pete, is that he's a fake gay guy. I mean, like, I would be like, that guy's hella fake, but I wouldn't think that he's not gay. I just think that he's a phony, which is different than not thinking that he's gay. And like, what questions? Tucker, you should have given us examples of the questions you were going to ask. Maybe like a little child, right? So we got one more, and then we're going to go into red light. I tried so hard not to talk about fucking Cracker Barrel. I tried not to talk about Cracker Barrel because that story was just the stupidest fucking thing in the world. But here's Jesse Waters talking about Cracker Barrel.
Let's not look at it from the political ramifications. Let's look at it in nature. Let's look at it from a completely different way of looking. I'm challenging you all here. This is the last place that you can see white people in their natural habitat.
Okay, that's kind of funny.
It's quiet. Everyone clanks. They're pleasant. They eat.
Oh no, it's quiet. Do you remember when fucking Bill O'Reilly, like back in the day, said that he went and had dinner with Al Sharpton at like a seafood restaurant frequented by black people, and nobody were screaming, "Where's my motherfucking iced tea, bitch?" Does anybody remember this? This guy's doing that. Why is this black guy doing that?
They're fatty foods, and it's always a good time. And I mean, we have Mexican restaurants, right?
Absolutely.
We have Spanish. We have barbecue. We have soul food. Can we not have one white restaurant? Is that okay?
They like remodeled the inside to make it more modern and fucking bought new furniture.
Thought about it like that, but I got to tell you,
of course you did.
I love Cracker Barrel. I'm like you. I think I give people grace. I think they tried their hardest and they probably made a little bit of a mistake. My thinking when I watched this thing was that they probably thought they should take out the old man and the old country store, thinking it might appeal to younger people. But there's something special about the place, and if they made a mistake, maybe they should take President Trump's advice and go back to it. But I tell you this, whatever they do, keep serving the fried chicken like you do and the chicken fried steak like you do.
Jesse, ate a Cracker Barrel too in your time?
Once.
So
on a road trip. On the way back from the border.
Yeah, Jesse pretends that he's something he's not. Jesse Waters is a city person. Jesse Waters ain't never fucking leave the city except to drive through the country to another city. This is my experience. I think I've fucking been to a Cracker Barrel once too, and it was like, I was surprised there was a restaurant in there. I thought there were just barrels full of fucking stuff or something in there, like it was like a gift shop or something. Like, he didn't know anything about Cracker Barrel, and all they did was change the logo and like make the inside look more modern at some of the locations. The problem here is that they have a woman who's a CEO, and she's pretty, I guess, and they don't like her. I think that's the main problem here.
And it was terrible.
You didn't have a good.
Wait, further, you went to the border?
I mean, it's better than Black Bear Diner, but yeah, the food, I don't remember the food being spectacular.
A long time ago. Yes. But I see what you're saying. They're trying to take the cracker
out of the barrel. Like, let them have one. Let you guys have one.
Right. And white people need to eat, and they need their places to eat.
There's a lot of them in this country.
You guys have Denny's. We have Cracker Barrel.
Wait, what? I didn't know that the Denny's is a place that white people eat.
We have Olive Garden too. Do you guys go to Olive Garden?
No, Waffle House.
Waffle House, got it. But it's
white people go to Waffle House too. Waffle House is hella good, and they'll fucking, you complain about their logo at Waffle House, and they might throw a chair at you.
They tried to make it younger, but Cracker Barrel's for old people. It's like trying to sell reverse mortgages to young people, or gold, or Relief Factor,
or a MyPillow,
or all the things we sell on Fox. You just have to keep your audience happy with what they're used to.
Yeah.
That's why people will be watching Fox until they die.
Dana, as a white person, does it make you uncomfortable to talk about white people having a stake in something?
No. But I also don't think that's exactly true about Cracker Barrel because they have a lot of customers. But here's the thing. So
Wait, black people do eat it?
Yes, we do. We specifically go.
This is incredibly racist. This is anti-white and anti-black. And I don't even care about most things. This is I feel insulted as a white person. Like, I'm going to eat at Cracker Barrel.
Because Cracker Barrels are quiet.
Yes. So
Plus
I
they got
have
good
not
food.
been able to get extra excited about this. You can ask my America's Newsroom producer. It's been a tough one for me. I don't think it's like Bud Light. Okay, with Bud Light, you had the vice president of marketing trashing their customers. You had a whole corporate equality index that had to be checked off, and you had Dylan Mulvaney. They took a redesign of a logo, and people have lost their minds. Now,
Damn, she's right. That's my take too, actually. They didn't do nothing. They fucking redesigned the logo and fucking hired an interior designer for some of the fucking locations. Maybe those locations, like the stuff inside was old and falling apart.
something from Jeannie Mama, who was a good friend of mine in the Bush administration. She said, no one likes change except a baby. Okay, so we like our things. We like the way that they look.
The only thing that could have been worse if they had made it Blacker Barrel.
No, my God.
You know,
okay.
That would have been.
That one didn't land. Nobody laughed at poor Jesse there. Did you see that? Nobody. That didn't land.
Bad. This they can recover from.
Okay, you were taking Katie's valuable time away.
Wait, I just want to add one thing.
Yeah, that didn't land. That didn't. Jesse, boo. Like, I don't want to spend any time on this, but what I will say about it is that, like, this is absolutely fucking stupid. They just changed their logo, and this is all like a it's all like a Trojan horse for the fact that they don't like that a younger woman that I probably assume is a liberal, not a leftist. My God, she's the CEO of a big company, but she's probably like a liberal. And they don't like that. I'm telling you, that's what they replaced some fucking old, I don't know who the old CEO was, but I bet I could, if I could draw, I could probably draw you a fucking picture of the motherfucker. So that's it. That's the Cracker Barrel thing. Thanks everybody for toughing it out for 2 hours and almost 2 hours and 40 minutes of the podcast this week. Remember a couple weeks ago, I'm like, we're going to try to tighten this up a little bit. This wasn't even 2 weeks worth of content. This is just from last week. I ignored all of last week's stuff. Imagine if I'd have tried to cover 2 weeks, we'd have been here till tomorrow morning. We'll technically probably be here till tomorrow morning because that's only 2.5 hours away. And in some places in the United States, it already is tomorrow morning, technically. So thanks everybody for hanging out. I hope people watching on YouTube or on the live stream notice that we changed the overlay up. I hope everybody likes the new kind of simpler overlay that looks a little less like a fucking casino. I know that I think it looks better. But you know, I'm always happy to have feedback on that kind of stuff. You'll mostly still be seeing the red light overlay because only Sundays and Tuesdays are podcast nights. And I guess with that, we're going to go ahead and go on into the post game. We'll go on into red light. Boy, howdy, do we have some shit for red light. We're going to open up with Laura Loomer, and then Nick Fuentes seems kind of unhappy. And then we have some news about the Queen of Canada, which is fun news. And then, of course, we got Owen Schroyer versus Alex Jones, which is, I'm fucking here for that. I did not think that was going to happen. But what with InfoWars on its way out, if Owen was going to leave ever, now would be the time. So I'll see everybody in red light. I'm going to pour a strong drink because we've been here for a while. We've been here for a while under these white lights. And I'm going to change the color of the lights, and we'll be back for the post game. If you are listening to the podcast, you got this far, consider supporting us on Patreon at patreon.com/echoplex or at eplex.store. $5 a month or more, and you get the entire audio and video of the show sent to your inbox the next day. I would say the next morning, but that's a fucking lie. You get it the next day, whereas the podcast doesn't come out till Tuesday or Wednesday. Also, check out our new podcast. Our newest podcast, Used to Be a Spy. We just dropped an episode of that over the weekend. This is Boomers by Periscope, and I'll see everybody in red light.
You were cold down your pay when